staff, and you see at the top of it, you see a glass orb in which it almost appears to be a miniature dust storm raging within and motes of dirt falling off of it. As she gestures in this sort of green mist murk, there's a light that apparates from this orb. She holds it forward and begins to lead the way. 4 of the guards flank your group, which now consists of the 4 of you, along with the Major, Danke, and the gentleman who you only know as Sir. And the other 2 guards are left with the loose-jowled man at the docks. As you walk along, there's something surreal, kind of ethereal about this environment. There are these jagged hulks that seem to suddenly lurk out of the mist, look more like misshapen beasts than the wooden derelicts of the seaside district. And it's a whole impression of foreboding in this kind of ever-present gloom. The guards walking alongside of you, they don't make eye contact, but as you look at them, you notice their skin is very pale, their cheeks are sunken, and they don't carry their spears with the chronic indifference of, say, the city guard, of most of the guard in Sarum. They grip them tightly, as if they're ready to strike. Worston, you look at the guard next to you, and you notice on his forearm there's a tattoo in a vivid green color, sort of a vaguely tribal pattern. And as you look to the other guards, some of them are wearing longer sleeves and you can't really tell, but it seems like all of them have some sort of a green tattoo on them. You also notice the guard next to you, he has an earring dangling from his ear that appears to be a carved skull and some sort of soap-like pale green material.
Cool.
The other one, kind of at the head of this procession of guards, just behind the woman in the drab robes, has kind of a long, terrible, scraggly beard, but there's also there's a ring around the middle of the beard that seems to also be made of the same pale green material and be carved into the crude image of the skull. There's a dirt path that's laid across in stretches with wood planks. However, these wood planks, they've become pitted. They've become more of a hazard than a help in navigating this well-trodden, though clearly poorly maintained road. The bank slopes upward away from the water. As you continue to trudge through this mist, no one speaking, a very kind of dour atmosphere over the whole party. There's suddenly a human shape that comes out of the gloom. It's ethereal, it's translucent. It barrels towards you, and before you can react, it passes right through you.
Ooh, spooky.
Yeah, very spooky. Logie, you feel it, and it's a bizarre sensation. It's like putting your hand in a rubber glove and then dipping it in ice water. It's this chill that goes down your spine. It feels like, for a second, like you've been completely doused, drenched, but it's not quite touching your skin. It's not the nicest thing. Joachim and Notrix, you have seen ghosts before because of various details in your background, but the occasion is rare. You've only seen them at a distance, and nothing like these, and nothing like this unusual ghost with a sort of viridian tint. As you keep walking forward, the fog begins to dissipate.
Guess where we are?
And the delicate mist gives way to fat, greasy drops of rainwater. And there is a full-on downpour as you hit the city proper. New card! So, now you get a sense of Phasmatis itself, which is not so much a city as it is the corpse of the city. It's full of 2 or 3-story buildings that perhaps were prosperous once. You see carved moldings, faint traces of bright paint, oriel window, strap work. However, now each house has become a sunken face. Its crevices are filled with grime and decay, siding and columns. They're no longer these proud facades, but they've become gangrenous. Their flesh, the paint, is flaking. These buildings, they almost look shriveled, collapsing under their own disease, their own signs of decay, mold, vermin. And among these decaying buildings, you spot the occasional ghost, flitting aimlessly across the street, spied through windows. As you walk, you hear a loud crack within one of the buildings, off to your right. And all of the guards, they tense, they turn towards it, their fingers, bony, claw-like, clenching on their spears. But nothing happens. Seems to be nothing in the building, just the sound of it slowly breaking, slowly collapsing. Most of these buildings, their roofs have long fallen. There are open beams sort of clawing at the sky. The city's bones show through. Now in the distance, you start to hear another kind of sound, kind of an irregular static below the sigh of the rain. And as you continue through this derelict portion, these sounds, they resolve themselves into multiple sharp, rhythmic noises. You can hear human voices, which almost sound like music after the past few minutes of this oppressive barrenness. The mage in front of your party, he gestures, you turn left. And even though the street that you turn onto would be pretty much grimly destitute anywhere else, in this moment it feels downright homey. You can see glass ball lanterns going down the street. They're creating these shallow pools of light. You see people further down. And you walk on, and there are the unmistakable details of a city that does have some signs of life. There are lines over the street, hanging low with sodden clothing caught in the rain. You see the occasional flicker of candlelight behind closed curtains, even pots of blooming nettles that are fighting for life outside of windowsills. And as you seem to enter the center of the city, there's a flurry of activity. Men and women, most of them very pale, very gaunt. However, a few of them looking like they have a little bit more life in them, carrying small bundles of wood, walking back and forth. There's the sound of hammers, saws, people shouting to each other, buildings in the process of being repaired. Even though these people are, a lot of them are weak and anemic, there's a signature of lean sinew, written across their limbs. It's a signature that's only written by those who've survived through struggle. And it's not all humans. You see ghosts among them. Not wandering aimlessly like before, but ghosts who are actually engaged in their effort, who seem to be helping to measure bits of wood. At one point you pass a man and a ghost in what appears to be a heated conversation. You can't understand the ghost. It still emits only this eerie sort of hoarse call. But this man clearly seems to understand him. You sort of notice he's wearing some kind of a necklace with a skull on it. But there seem to be having some sort of an argument, heated discussion. The man sort of continues midpoint. But the point is, you didn't understand what you were getting into. Look, knowing what we know now, if we could finally just grow a pair and make full use of its power. And the conversation kind of fades as you walk past. You see a couple of guys in suspenders, kind of bent, beginning to paint over a graffiti on the side of a pub that says Red Shades. And as you keep walking, even though there is this life, As you look towards the alleyways, they're still empty. They're still lightless. Get the sense that most of this city is still very much abandoned, very much a derelict. But it's being reclaimed. After having walked for maybe 20 minutes now, maybe a half hour, you come into it's the south side of town. And the buildings, they're no longer all wood. There are a lot of sort of ruins in granite, places that were once grand. However, among them, you see a church that at this moment feels palatial, even though with a few seconds of reflection, you can realize that it's not actually that special, but it's just relative to the surroundings. Because this church has been fully restored, immaculately maintained, the mage leads you into this church, into the foyer, and you see what appears to be a wedding into the church itself proper. Let me change the card here. That might look familiar, but I assure you it's a completely different church. A wedding in the church proper, as you can kind of see, looking towards the front of the church, it's not a wedding between two humans, but it appears to be a wedding between a human man, kind of a long neck and sort of sagging shoulders, and what appears to be a ghost woman in, an ethereal bridal gown. And there's a priest officiating before them, an old man with a tonsure, gray, kind of trembling. He seems either very old or perhaps ill, but uh, the maid, she she kind of gestures you to the side towards a staircase, and she turns around to all of you as you approach the staircase. She says, "Right. Now, are all of you here under the same auspices?" I mean, have you all got the same reason for being here in Phasmatis? And immediately from the back of your group, no. Ah, right.
Joe turns.
I mean, most of us are.
We are all members of the same crew.
Right, and why are you here in Phasmatis? I want to know how to introduce you before we get into the council.
Well, we're looking.
Ocean Sworn.
Go ahead, Joaquin.
We happen to be looking for someone. A trader from across the eastern seas. I believe his name was Akita Haranu.
Okay, very well, very well. We'll be sure to inform the council. And at the second, the major kind of waves a hand, and he's shorter than most of the group. Yeah, he's the shortest one among you now, and he says, "Oh, hold on. I'm actually here because of looking for some dwarves. I believe there were some visiting here maybe a month or two ago." The woman kind of essays you. "Very well. You four, you will come up first. The council will address you. These other two, we will save your questioning before the council for after these four. You four are all searching for this Akita."
Haranu, yes.
He has
Very
a
good.
motorcycle and likes to do that one pose with a motorcycle that everybody loves to do.
Very good. Well then, follow me. And two of the guards stay with Sir and Denki. However, the woman leads you up this somewhat narrow staircase. There's two more of the guards just behind you. And think I maybe made too many cards. And you come at the top of the stairs onto this chamber. It's somewhat cluttered, doesn't seem especially clean, and you can see kind of some supports in the edges of it. It appears that it is, despite how immaculate the church appears from the outside, that this upper chamber on the upper floor is shows more signs of being repaired, of being kind of mid-repair. There is a sort of a fire and enclosed chimney grate towards the center, and that's the main source of light in this room, aside from kind of the crepuscular rays from the gloom outside that are coming through the frosted glass at the far end. And there is a long table to one side, 5 chairs behind it, and 5 people. And before this table, with apparently the council, there is another gentleman being examined by the council. And Trow, I'd like you to go ahead and describe the gentleman who the council are currently dealing with. Oh no.
Drow.
Oh no.
Might have lost.
Right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Oh my god, I hate when it does that. So, the gentleman being questioned is a tallish old man. Although he is old, he seems to be in pretty good physical shape. He is wearing rather loosely hung red robes, which is quite voluminous, which would make you think of a sort of monastery. Although you probably do not know the kind of monastery that wears red unless it's Zamorakian. He does not bear any identifiable Zamorakian symbols, however. And he's looking very annoyed at the surrounding people that's trying to question him. There is a stubborn glint in his eyes whenever he is being addressed to. It looks like he is barely keeping his rage in check. Yep, that's it.
So these people who at whom he is glaring, 4 of them are currently in their seats behind the table. The one closest to you appears to be a pale, short-haired woman with a shrewd face, and her fingers are just kind of steepled before her, working together. Next to her is an old man, bald, long, kind of unkempt beard, a face with a skin like old canvas. He's kind of leaning back in his seat, and you can see where his pants are sort of falling up. It looks like his pants are a little too, his trousers, are a little too short. You can see below them mismatched socks. Next to him is not another human, but what appears to be a ghost in, or at least in what was in life, a long robe with a wild sort of leonine mane of hair behind him, the wisps of his hair drifting slightly as if they're caught in a current. And he's not actually sitting in his chair pulled out behind the table, but halfway sitting through the table. His features are a little difficult to discern, but he seems to be focused very intently on the man. Next to him, there is a youngish woman, her hair dyed blue, and her face tattooed, including tattoos not just in the green color that you noticed in the guards and in several of the citizens working in Phasmatis, but in more of a brighter aqua color. She's got round cheeks, full lips, and seems to be observing this with concern. And the last member of the council, he is actually up out of his seat, standing in front of the table, kind of leaning slightly. He's got a shaved head. He's not especially tall, but he's appears quite muscular, quite in shape. He's also has very elaborate tattoos, completely up and down his arms, up his neck, in a very intricate design. A strong brow, which is currently furrowed, gesturing at the man before him. You're saying you sailed all the way from there to Phasmatis, and you can't tell me anything about his clientele, his business plans, his contacts.
Can I talk now?
Yes, he's
Yeah.
addressing the man before him.
Yeah, he's addressing me, right? Just
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and the red-robed monk looks really annoyed, and he responds with initially he responds with an annoyed huff, and then he responds, "No, I'm not telling you I can't tell you. I am telling you I'm not going to tell you."
You understand why we're here. Your freedom is on the line in this town. We would be fully in our rights to incarcerate you. So tell me, do you know anything about his plans here in Phasmatis?
The monk, my name is Hyun Zhang of the monastic order of the manifold ways. I am not some kind of tramp with no pedigree. If you are to, I cannot go against the tenets of my order, one of which is loyalty to those you are hired by. To tell you the things you request of me would be to betray my current master. It is not doable.
So you're a monk.
That
So
much
why
is
is a
clear.
merchant hiring you, a monk, to sail with him all the way from God knows where to here?
Hyun scoffs in mocking laughter. Everyone in the East knows that the monks of the manifold orders, are often contracted to protection duties for people who can spare the coin. I am merely exercising that practice that that so many of my battle brothers keep to.
Protection. So you'll protect anyone with a coin. You'd even protect a vampire.
I would protect a murderer, a merchant, or a madman. Does not matter. Once the contract is written up, and it must be fulfilled.
And this man, he looks like he's about to explode at this, but before he can, the young woman behind him calls out, "We've been at this for an hour, Harold. He came here with no ill intent. Did you?" She, addresses towards you, much kinder than the man who's been leading this interrogation.
No, ma'am, I have no ill intent for any of you. Indeed, I do not know your names, despite having been here for quite some time. All I do is protect his stalls and make sure the merchant does not get harmed, as your guards might be able to attest to.
She nods at this, and it gives you a little smile and looks towards the man identified as Harold. You know this is true. We're wasting time that the council could spend on more important matters. He just looks disgusted. This is the most important matter. But fine. We'll put it to a vote. All in favor of detaining Mr. Hyun here. And he and the ghost raise their hands. He puts them down. Right. All in favor of letting him walk. And at that, the woman with the blue hair and the short-haired woman both raise their hands. And the old man doesn't seem to be paying much attention. Rollaine. Oh, I apologize. But it was all getting a bit dull, wasn't it? Let the poor bastard go. He's just a deck swab. Don't think he knows anything. And the man identified as Harold rolls his eyes, fixes you with the glare, Hyun, and says, "Right. I suppose the council has spoken." He turns to the guards. "Escort him downstairs. He's free to go."
I can walk, you know. I may be old, but I can walk.
"Escort him downstairs." And the two guards, they walk forward on either side of you. They kind of start to reach for your elbow, but then they both at the same moment seem to think better of it. And as you accompany them walking towards the stairway and back into the streets of this somewhat hostile and familiar town where you've only been a few days, you pass a strange, rather motley group. The rest of you in the party, I'd like you each to kind of visually identify yourself, describe yourselves.
Father Joachim is a priest. Sorry, well, actually, I'll let the others go first. Let me think this over.
Logi is an above average, a dwarf of above average height, with dark skin, although most of it is covered in various furs. And he seems to be making an effort to hide his face under a hood.
Well, and Notrix is a youngish man, and he has bleached white hair, and quite pale skin for someone that young. And he's wearing I think a rather loose fitting sort of robe, not a very long robe, that is white.
Worse than the is is a pale young man who seems to be wearing some simple clothing, though you can see that he has a strange lute on his back. He has brown hair, orange eyes, and you can also notice a satchel on the side of his side and his hips. By investigating a little, you can notice that he's a little happy despite the situation, but refuses to say anything because he respects the rest of you.
And Joachim now.
Joachim is a clean-shaven, reasonably good-looking man, with a kind look in his bright blue eyes. His short brown hair is as neatly trimmed and combed as his black clerical shirt and collar are starched and pressed. He does look a bit on the young side for a priest, but not terribly young. No more than perhaps his early 30s at the most. At the moment, however, he does look slightly ill at ease about the situation unfolding around them. As for his height, he is slightly on the tall and lean side.
Right, and you pass this strange assortment of people on your way downstairs, Hyun, and not knowing what these poor sods are in for before the council. Now, Harold, he turns towards the mage who led this group up here to their chambers. She addresses him. "These ones say that they are looking for a merchant. They came in on a strange ship. Looks eastern." "Right. Thank you, Mona. You may go downstairs, be dismissed." All right, the four of you, stand in a row before the table. Hopefully this won't take long. I assume that the four of you follow his directions, or do any of you try to be punks about it?
I think just stand in a line. I don't think there's any reason to be punks about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, joking complies with her request.
Hopefully we can get this done faster.
So the four of you are in a line. The two guards who accompanied you going to take their place a couple meters behind you. And Harold turns to address you. Right. Well, I suppose you're not here for a ship registry, are you?
Nope, just one person and we will leave. Promise.
I didn't think so. So, tell me, what exactly are you doing here in Phasmatis?
We have come to fetch a man named Akira Haranu. He is a relative of our captain.
Akira Haranu. He kind of, you see him kind of chew on his lip a little bit, like he's a little troubled by this. And the short-haired woman calls out, you'll have a hard time with that, love. He's in prison now.
Prison?
And,
What has he done?
Harold kind of puts his hand to his forehead. Akira Haranu. I'm assuming Akira is his full name. We only know him as Ak around here. Was caught trading with vampires. We deem him a threat to the town. Because of that, he has been imprisoned until we can decide on a more permanent course of action.
Well, what was the trade items? Perhaps it's not all that bad.
The items that he was trading are nothing of your concern. We're currently holding them as evidence until we can ascertain exactly the nature of all of the items.
Perhaps we could take him off your hands. Get him out of the city. He won't cause any trouble to you then.
Your associate of Haranu, you've worked with him.
No, never met the man. But our captain, as we said, is a relative, and she wishes to take him back to their homeland.
Right. And why isn't she here?
Well, someone has to guard the ship.
So she came here hoping for a family reunion. How do I know that you are not also colluding with vampires?
If we were colluding with vampires, do you think we would come up here and, well, talk to you at all?
Besides,
I mean,
we have these garlics around our necks and this holy cross you gave us.
I mean, I don't have any experience with the matter, but if I were hypothetically trading with vampires, I would keep as far away from the authorities of this beautiful port as possible.
All right. Don't try to blow smoke up my ass. You don't seem like you'd be trading with vampires. Frankly, you seem too dumb for that. All right. There's some standard questions we need to get through. How long have you been traveling together? What are the other ports of call that you've had?
We departed from Port Sarim about a week and a half ago. We've only stopped by the city of Menafos in the south on our way here. Phasmatis was to be our last destination before arriving in the east.
Right. And are there any extenuating circumstances behind your travel? Anyone chasing after you? Any outstanding warrants?
Nope.
Nope.
Absolutely not.
Joachim says nothing.
You seem a bit quiet, priest. You have no comment on this.
None, he says, forcing a smile.
God, that is going to just follow us
damn.
forever.
He just rolled a 20 on an insight check.
Oh dear.
So he he shakes his head, but he smiles a little. Look, I entertain no delusions about the social legitimacy of our visitors. People don't end up here unless they've exhausted all their other options. You can have a past and still put in good work. We're not here to persecute you. It's not what this council is about. The reason we're here is to ensure that our community stays safe. Can you give me any sort of proof, any assurance that you will be no threat to Phasmatis?
That, I believe, I can vouch for, Joachim says. I haven't traveled with these people long, but from what I have seen, I'm confident they would mean none of you any harm.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I add a small chuckle.
Besides, what harm could we do? We have already handed over our weapons.
Weapons. There's little you can do with a weapon that can't be repaired, that can't be covered over. It's words, it's knowledge, it's action that I think could be the greatest threat to us. We've carved out a very special niche for ourselves here. And all it requires is one moment of imperfect vigilance for it all to come crashing down. And the woman with blue hair, she kind of calls out behind him. Right, Harold, I think that's enough. I think it's time I should try to read them.
Excuse me, read us?
Sani here can read auras. It's a unique talent of hers. Though, of course, we would love to take you at your word. It benefits us to have this form of insurance. Sani, if you please. And the woman, she gets up from her chair. She's quite an attractive woman, rather short, kind of a round faced, but she walks over to each of you with a kind smile. And Joachim, she comes to you first. She kind of extends her hand just over her forehead. You can feel the heat of her skin, but she's not actually touching. Oh, she rolls very high. Ah, it's good to see another man of faith here. With the hardship in our life, it's easy to forget all that we owe to faith, to Saradomin. There were priests from Patadomus who helped us. Without them, well, the monarchy would have fallen long before it did. They gave everything to see this dream realized. And she kind of extends her hands, sort of gesturing to the whole chamber, but you get the sense that she's indicating something that goes far beyond the chamber itself, indicating the whole town. Many sacrificed for it. So I know that a man called to this path, to your path, is a man of self-sacrifice. What is your name, sir?
Joachim.
Joachim, and she clasped her hands. You're all welcome in Phasmatis. And she walks down to the next person in line, who is worsened. She does the same gesture. Oh man, she really reads you. She reads the shit out of you. And
You're a book.
and she pulls back with kind of a bemused expression. Well, I'm certainly glad to see a musician here. Though your soul sounds of a different sort of music. Something a bit more exotic. Am I correct?
I usually resort to exotic tunes since most people haven't heard them. I aim to improve lives with everything I can.
Could you play something for me?
Of course. I hope your tastes aren't too particular. And I reach out to my satchel and take out the flute and start playing it a like 30 seconds song.
Performance check.
8.
Oof.
And she kind of tries to bob her head to it, but can't really find the rhythm. The song you're playing, it's a little weird. It's probably not the best thing to play when someone says, "Hey, play something." And after you finish your little 30-second piece, she says, "Oh, well, that's really interesting. You know,
It
we get
might not be the best, but it certainly does change people's lives. Sometimes it does sound good, sometimes not so much. This is one of those times, I'm afraid.
well, you know, it's easy to get caught up in the struggle for security, for survival, and to forget that life needs more than food, water, shelter to live. You are welcome here, musician."
Thank you. If I may ask, did you mentioned the Myraki, didn't you?
Oh, yes, there was a group that Harold and I were a part of once. It was the Mayaki's last action to see this town established. Well, it was here before us, but to see it established as a haven for the people of Mauritania.
I see. This shall make a good piece one day. Thank you.
She walks to the next person in the line, who is Nautrex. Holds her hand over your head. And yeah, she's rolling pretty decently. She's a druid and a priest. Sort of like the priestly warriors. Which of you will be Seagaze? She kind of laughs at this half joke. Though you're not like most druids, are you?
No, I follow a slightly different sect, as you might call it, than most druids.
Though you are still committed to balance, are you not?
Yes, as all druids are.
Well, I'd advise you not to make rash judgments here in Mauritania, and to remember that the scales of balance have long been tipped in a particular direction in these lands.
Well,
I hope you would not make them even more imbalanced than they already are.
I'm no stranger to imbalance. My home was sorry. My home was quite similar.
Very good.
Joachim looks curiously at Nautrix as he speaks of some of these things.
She walks to the last person in the line, not telling you that you're welcome as she did to worsened in Joachim, but also not saying that you're unwelcome. And the last person in the line is Logi. And Logi, have you got your hood up?
Yes, at the moment, yes.
She says, Sir, what is your name?
Logi.
Logi, would you mind lowering your hood so I can read your aura?
Logi pauses for a second before reluctantly pulling back his hood.
And as you do that, you hear a gasp from the short-haired woman behind the table. However, the other members of the council don't seem fazed by it. Sani puts out her hand.
Wait, what did they gasp at? I was distracted for a second.
At Logi's unusual appearance.
I see.
That's a nice way of putting it.
I was about to say something else, but sure.
Sani holds out her hand, and after a second, she pulls it back sharply. There's something wrong about this one. There's an aura, a magic that feels undead, necromantic. I'm not sure about this one. And before she's even finished saying this, the two guards have come up behind you, Logi, and out of nowhere, they have these manacles, and they attempt to put them on you. Are you going to try to resist, or are you going to let them put them on you?
What?
Joke.
What are you
That-
doing? And I'm trying to resist.
Now hold on. Surely there must be some misunderstanding, cries Joachim.
All right. Before that, Logi, go ahead and roll a dexterity. And I'll roll for them. Oh yeah, so you managed to kind of shake away from the guards in their first attempt to manacle you. And Harold turns towards you, Joachim, as you ask what they're doing. This one. Sani reads something strange in him. Now, what are you really on about?
Wait, sorry, was he addressing me?
He was kind of addressing the whole group, but after this moment of silence, he steps up to Logi. Who are you, really?
I just told you. My name is Logi. I am half dwarf, half human, to my knowledge.
And why? Why did Sani read something necromantic on you? Something undead?
Well, throughout my life, I have gotten into a few scraps. And he pauses for a second. Had a few potentially supernatural accidents.
He just scowls at you. And after a second, you see the short-haired woman had left the room for just a second and comes back with a vial of some sort of a strange potion. She looks towards Harold.
Reminder, by the way, I have the Detect Evil and Good spell, which can identify undead.
All right. Well,
there's probably a lot of
good to
undead
know.
around.
Are you casting that or no?
Well, I haven't, but I could, I haven't actually.
All right. Well, it'll be up to you when you want to cast it. But the short-haired woman, she comes in. She says, "Harold, you think we should try some of this? I don't know if we should waste it. Well, I mean, it would help us to know, wouldn't it?"
I think there's another solution, interjects Joachim.
Yes.
As a cleric of Saradomin, I could seek his guidance in this particular matter. It's not always entirely reliable, but my training may allow me to, well, detect the dead.
And why should we trust you? I mean, you've been traveling with this dwarf.
I think Sani's reading of me spoke quite well. Or are you going to question the reliability of her readings?
Sani? And the blue-haired woman, she's kind of looking down. I let the priest do what he asks. Right. So what is it exactly you propose then?
As I suggested, calling upon Saradomin to help detect the dead or other dark forces.
Right. See you do it then.
Joachim nods and clasps his hands together. He looks at Logi intently for a moment, then closes his eyes and whispers a prayer.
And as you say this prayer, you kind of put out your let me just see what the range on that is. Oh yeah, 30 feet. So you sort of put out your awareness. You kind of feel the warmth of Saradomin infuse you. And as you close your eyes, you kind of get a shadow sense of the whole room. There's nothing undead here.
Do I recognize the potion, by the way, as well?
No, you don't.
Okay.
Well, do you read anything?
So out of character, do I read anything out of character?
Oh, you missed that. No, you don't.
I feel Saradomin's guidance, says Joachim, opening his eyes. And I detect no undead in this room. But wait, hold on. There's a ghost, at least one ghost in the council, right? I should detect them, but that's not really important, I suppose.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hold on. Let me look at the description of the spell. Yeah. So you detect. Okay. You detect him, but you don't detect any other undead. I'm sorry. I should have said that. Yeah. You're okay. You definitely don't get any sort of detection of undead off of Logi.
And yes, I detect no undead in this room, apart from, of course, your fellow council member. Joachim gives a respectful nod to the ethereal gentleman at the table.
Harold, he kind of sizes you up. You're hard to read, priest. Not sure if I believe you. Very well. You will be allowed in town. However, that one, and he just points at Logie, no longer addressing you directly, he will have to be chained while he is within the city grounds.
Joachim frowns at this and looks over at Logie.
Chained?
You heard me.
Well, how about we keep an eye on him, and if anything happens, we'll put us all in jail. And I try to persuade him. 1 second.
You don't understand what this is. Yeah, that doesn't persuade him.
Nah.
Don't understand what this is. Look, this place, it's survival. But more than that, it's hope. Mauritania is a rock. Cold, hard, unforgiving. We've lived under the weight of that rock all our lives, barely able to rise to our knees with its oppression on our shoulders. We carved this niche in that rock with our bare hands till our fingers bled, till our nails shattered. And now, though its darkness still surrounds us, we can stand, not on fours like cattle, but on 2 feet as human beings. But in this council, we can never forget that we're on the precipice, that all it takes is one moment of carelessness, one weak link for everything to come crashing down. We need to remember this. We need to act on this. We need to treat people with this fully in our mind so that the residents of Phasmatis might hopefully one day be able to forget it. We are not if these were better circumstances, if there were any more light in this world, in these dark lands, I wouldn't be making this decree. But you have to understand, this is one inconvenienced dwarf against the security of an entire town, an entire city. That's why you're going to be in chains while you're in Phasmatis.
Whew.
Fine.
And at this, Rolane, who's kind of seems to have been zoning out towards all of this, kind of perks up. So you think he's working with the vampires? He might be. Well, what if you sent him down to the pit?
Joachim's brows furrow. The pit.
You don't want to know about the pit.
I think I would like to know if it concerns the fate of one of my companions.
Well, if you think he's working with a vampire and he says he isn't, he's working with a vampire, he probably wouldn't be too keen on killing one.
Kill a vampire?
Can't you see a few flaws in that test? I don't think vampires are especially easy to kill, even if you are not one of their allies.
We occasionally manage to capture fires who are caught away from their patrols. We have a couple of juvenites locked up in town. We've used them in sort of mass training sessions to prepare those the young men and women who decide to go out on the bone patrol. But we, honestly, I don't think you'd want to do that. Sending a group of only 4 down there, that would be suicide. I recommend. He kind of looks at you, Logie, but then looks away. I recommend that one submit to his chains.
Wait, while all this is going on, could I just roll some stealth check to climb back up into this room and just listening to what's going on?
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
All right. 17.
Okay. You get advantage on that?
No, that's the first roll. So how this works is the second roll is basically if I have disadvantage.
Oh, okay. All right. So in that case, let me roll for the 2 guards who you have to get past.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one has a 5 perception and the second one 19.
Bloody hell.
So as you try to sneak past one of the guards, he kind of snaps down his spear in front of you. Oh, hold it. Hold it. Your session with the council is done. Come on, shove off.
I forgot my wallet.
You forgot your wallet?
Yep. Look.
Don't know what the heck that is, mate. You mean a coin purse?
Yes, it's what we call your coin purse, except it's an Eastern. Persuasion? No, I mean, you can just like tell me it's not good enough for persuasion check. You know, it's up to you. You're the DM. You are the game.
Yeah, it's I'll let you roll for that at a pretty high DC.
Or you can give me disadvantage. That's just an option. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
persuasion.
You can go ahead and roll.
Oh, bloody hell! Yeah.
Yeah, you don't persuade him. He's not buying this for 1 second. Yeah, sure. Well, how about this? After council session is over, you can come back and we'll have a nice look around for your wallet.
So that you can filch it, I respond with some haughtiness. No, thank you. If you look, there's 2 ways we can go about this: the easy way and the hard way. You do know how many of you guards I beat up while you were trying to apprehend my employer, yes?
I don't know nothing about that.
Oh, you haven't asked poor Timmy in the well. Do you know why he's in the well? Because I pushed him there. Very far.
No, because he's not feeling well.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. How much do you get per month in this shoddy guard job? Is it worth the hospitalization fees? Do they even pay you for that?
Look,
should I roll
if
some?
If you want to get back into the tower, trying to insult a guard isn't going to be your best course of action. Or wait, you're trying to intimidate him?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, roll intimidation, and I'll do it against a straight d20 for him.
All right. 15. Come on. Yes.
Okay.
Good enough.
And he's kind of backs up. Look, mate, just doing my job.
And
Council's
I'm doing
having session
mine.
up there. I mean, even if you did go, there's going to be at least 4 other guards and 5 members of the council up there. I don't know if you know anything about this council, but Harold, he can, I heard he once killed a vial with his bare hands.
The monk smiles and pats him on the shoulder. It'll be just like a few seconds, all right? I'll just nip up there, grab my wallet, coin purse, and then be right back.
A few seconds.
Well, I mean, metaphorically, but it'll take some time searching for my purse. All of my money's in there, and I can't do anything without it.
Can I do an investigation check real quick?
There is no actual wallet.
let-
I'm just
yeah,
lying.
let me finish this this scene real quick before we get
Well,
back to you.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, there is no wallet.
Better question. Better question. Do any of us hear the conversation with him?
I'm just gonna say no. I mean, this is a stone structure. You're up on the upper floor, and the ground floor is pretty tall. You know, it's like a it's like a tall church. It's not quite a cathedral, but the the ground floor is at least sort of at least a double height structure. So
Yeah, never
yeah, you're not
mind.
going to hear any of this. Yeah. So the guard he kind of
Backs off.
eyes you, Hyun, and fine. Give you 5 minutes, but don't come crying to me if they take you and they throw you into clink for going back in there and trying to disrupt their session.
Oh, I wouldn't dream of it. The monk smiles with a very kindly smile that is completely different to the intimidating stare he had just a few seconds ago, and then he quietly climbs up. Can I reuse my stealth check that I rolled a while ago? 17? Or
Sure, yeah.
Should I roll again? I mean, I can do either, just asking.
Actually, yeah, this is a pretty
Yeah.
big interruption. I'll
Mhm.
say that you'd have to roll again.
Right, here goes nothing. Yes! 22.
All right.
No.
22. Dang. So I'll just I'll roll because you've got now there are 3 more people at the top of the stair who you would have to somehow get past. Actually, I'm not sure that you could stealth past them because I said it's a narrow stairwell
Oh,
and oh no, but Mona already probably left. So okay, so there's just the 2 guards. So and they're not right at the stairwell.
also,
so
they're kind of looking at the council, so they're
Yeah,
back.
so let me just roll for them and make sure neither of them crits. Neither of them do. So you kind of creep up the stairwell and you kind of stick to the shadow to the far wall where the light doesn't really cast anything in. And it's not too hard to stick to the shadows because most of the light is coming from the grated fireplace in the center of this room. It's fairly dim, and especially on this side of the room away from the windows.
Lovely.
So you kind of you're at the top of the stairwell in the shadows.
Yep.
You see
and I see everything. I hear everything.
Well, you haven't heard everything, but you come
I mean, yes, from this point.
yeah, you come just as the guards try but fail to shackle Logi,
Mhm.
and you hear the brief conversation about the pit.
Okay.
So anyways, back to the matter at hand. So you've asked about the pit, and Harold has sort of reluctantly told you the nature of it, that they have a couple of juvenites chained up there and that they have used them in mass training sessions for new members of the Bone Patrol.
Logi looks deep in thought.
Mhm.
He looks up at what was his name, Harold,
Yes.
and asks, "So I can either spend my entire stay in chains, or I can fight a vampire and then be completely free."
Well, it's the only way that we'd know for sure that you're not in league with the Vyres. However, we don't intend to keep you prisoner. We just intend to have this extra assurance that you won't try anything untoward during your time in Phasmatis. I mean, chains aren't all that bad.
I'm sure they're quite common in a ghost town.
I'll quietly rub my places under the hands.
Yeah, your wrists, even though your patrons removed them and healed you, your wrists still feel a bit raw.
So I will still be able to go wherever I please. I'll just be restrained.
And you will have a guard accompanying you.
And here, the monk suddenly steps out of nowhere and then makes a comment. Perhaps I can aid you in that pit challenge. Yes, I'm breaking my stealth.
What? Where did you come from?
The monk shrugs and replies, just looking for my wallet. But I happened to overhear that these gentlemen were looking for my employer. Perhaps I can aid them in expediting the process. I am Hyun Zhang, a monk, as you may know.
You mean
If
a
you're-
coin
if you're-
purse?
Hmm?
You mean a coin purse?
No, I mean, yes, the coin purse. Oh, you Westerners are so weird. But as I was saying, if you wish to go about freely, my dark-skinned fellow, I could help you in this pit challenge. And then the monk cracks his neck around and states, it's been too long since I've punched something. Besides, going around in chains, that is only something for slaves. Are you a slave?
You knew Akira Haranu, did you say?
The monk nods and then bows in a clumsy attempt at mimicking Western bow. Hyunzang, adept of the banner of the guiding light, at your service. Yes, I was employed by this Haranu or Hanaru. I really don't get the name of our people times. I myself am also an Easterner, so I have some interest in seeing him freed. I mean, seeing his guests and him meet as soon as possible, especially if it will lead to earlier being freed earlier from his jail.
Well, that does sound nice. Glad to have you.
It does, doesn't it? So, the pit? The monk rubs his hand viciously.
Logi strokes his chin thoughtfully.
Joachim looks over at Logi. I'm not certain this is such a good idea, Logi. We should be out of here soon enough, particularly with a guide, as this kind gentleman has offered.
Come,
the pit,
come.
however,
You are
the
no
pit-
slave. I can see from your robes that you are a free-spirited man. Do you wish to submit to the laws of the land like a groveling little snivel?
I whispered to Notrix. Well, obvious. It's better than what happened to us, right?
Do you
Yes,
wish
had
to
some
be
bad
ripped to
memories about
shreds
that.
by a vampire? Joachim says more
How
sternly
hard
at
can
Logi.
killing a vampire be?
Have you killed one, then?
Oh
asks
no, I've
Joachim.
never even seen one.
I only heard stories of vampires myself.
Stories, myths, incorporeal little things. Punch them and see how true the stories are.
Huh. Harold, this pit, do many people gather to watch this battle, or is it discreet?
Well, we usually use it as a training exercise. When new members want to join the Bone Patrol, we send maybe around 30 of them down there at a time. Have them beat the Juvenate around within an inch of its life. It's not exactly a fair fight, but it gives them a sense of the things that the Vyres are capable of. They have certain powers that could take someone unawares if they went into if they got caught in a confrontation with Vyres in the wild. Fortunately, that doesn't usually happen. However, we've had more troubles with Vyres on our patrols of late.
May I ask something? Since
Yes.
you technically say that this trial will prove if he's involved with Vyres or not. However, how would a pit Vyre know anything that this random person is cooperating with, say, a higher vampire?
Well, it's clear to us that This Logi, no matter what his aims are, is not a vampire. However, if he is in the service of the vampires, if he is a thrall to a vampire, then he wouldn't willingly harm another of his kind. At least that's what we understand.
Hmm.
Uh-huh.
But are you sure that higher vampires even care about the little ones you captured?
The council, they sort of all look at each other at the same moment. It seems like they're not really prepared for this line of questioning. It seems like you've taken them a little unprepared. And the short-haired woman kind of pipes up. Well, I mean, they wouldn't, would they?
Well, is there any reason I have to fight it alone? I mean, if all I have to prove is that I would kill a vampire, then surely you could just chain the vampire up and then I could kill it.
These fires, they have tricks to escape death, tricks to make themselves appear to be in more dire straits than they truly are. I don't think that we could properly gauge a battle unless it were one done on a fairer footing. Now, of course, if you did choose to do this, and once again, I highly advise you against this. I may not trust you, but I don't intend to send you in here to die. But if you did, we would allow you to take your companions.
Logi looks up at the others expectantly to gauge their interest.
If we do this, can you arrange the transfer of Akira from your prison to our ship?
Akira he's another matter altogether. You proving that you have no affiliation with the vampires does nothing to prove that Akira does not have that. Even you, monk, you may have no knowledge of your employer's dealings, but he could very well be colluding with Vyas without your knowledge. We simply don't know. We don't have enough information.
Well, surely exile is a valid course of action. You would never see him again if he came with us.
Has Miss Sani performed her readings on Haranu?
She didn't pick up anything on Haranu, but the chest that he was carrying, what he had apparently traded, was very much something of vampire make. He had an anonymous tip about his dealings. Even if he doesn't have the mark of the fire upon him, we don't know what he's trading with the vampires, and if it is only material goods or if it is information, secrets, things that could compromise the town. If we allowed him to simply leave with you, still thinking that he could be in league with the vampires, who's to say that you couldn't take him further down the coast, drop him off, allow his masters to take him in, allow him to bring ruin to our settlement?
I very much doubt that's our captain's intention, as we are headed eastwards. And I'm not certain how much I should say, but I've been given every reason to believe there is quite some trouble in their homeland at the moment. trouble that requires the family's attention.
I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do about this. If you want to speak to Haranu, I'll allow it. He's being held in in the old bank to the north of town. I'll have Gavin will be escorting you, at least as long as your dwarf companion is in chains. He can lead you there if you choose to go.
All right, can we resolve the chains things first?
Loki, Joachim looks at him. You know I'd prefer you to be unshackled and free, but I don't feel this is a necessary risk. I can't force you to decide one way or another, but I don't want to see you getting hurt, you understand? This seems very questionable to me, truth be told. And I'm sure it won't be long. You know?
Loki is silent for a moment. He stares ahead at nothing. It's as if the gears in his head are spinning. He looks back and forth at his companions. At first, unsure regarding the proper course of action. And then he looks down at his hand, black and charred. He clenches his fist and he finally says, I am sorry, Joachim, but I can never be a slave.
Hyunzang claps approvingly and hoots in joy. Come, then, lead us to this pit of yours, he says to one of the counselors.
And the short-haired woman, she looks dismayed.
Joachim...
It's sending them to the Death Herald.
Joachim looks troubled at the situation. I must agree respectfully with your fellow council member. I don't feel this is necessary.
Wait, only us 5 without any more reinforcements of your people?
And Harold kind of looks at the short-haired woman. Look, Elizabetha, if this is what they want to do, well, I'm not going to stop them. They've been warned of the dangers. Very well. You're going to go into the pit. You'll need a couple of hours to prepare to ensure that the points of ingress to the pit are well guarded, are warded against vampires. You'll be free in those 2 hours to do what you please, however, under the watch of our God. And then, well, we'll see just how much of a death wish you have.
What about our weapons? Joachim interjects. Surely you can't expect us to fight a vampire barehanded.
I can.
You'll receive your weapons when it's time for you to enter the pit. I'd advise you not to get into any scraps before then.
Joachim nods. Understood. He still doesn't sound too happy about this.
Now, so dwarf, if you please, extend your hands for at least the next 2 hours. You will be subject to our justice.
As long as I regain my freedom afterwards.
If you live, you will.
Either way, he dies or lives a free man.
And
So should we skip to
Harold,
that
for the
part?
first time, hearing you say that, Harold, for the first time, he smiles and he nods. Free
Oh.
man. I can respect that.
All right. I'll look at the monk and say, so glad to have you aboard then on this terrible, rather interesting idea.
Oh, you probably had to fight some kind of fire sometime in your adventuring life anyway. You are you are going to be living in this dreadful western continent after all. Of course, you're temporarily leaving towards the east, but you are returning here, right?
That is the plan, yes.
Yeah, so you probably will have to deal with the virus one way or the other. Your precious river south might not hold forever. You never know, the monk says with a shrug.
Joe
Well,
folds his arm. Sorry, go
hopefully
on.
my sister can. Hopefully my sister will be able to take care of them before it ever does damage to the rock.
Ah, your sister is an adventurer as well.
Well, she is a fighter, yes.
I wasn't aware you had a sister worsened, says Joachim.
One of those
Wait.
things you learn when you do some conversation with your comrades in arms.
Wait, you didn't read my letter while I was technically dead?
Oh,
Well, not you,
I
but the rest.
I told you I hadn't gone snooping through her personal effects. Joachim shakes his head. It would be very improper for me to read mail addressed to someone else.
Right, fair enough indeed. Although I did expect somebody else here to read it at some point, but glad to see that nobody did.
so we have 2 hours until we get to share our bond with. What do you call it? Strengthen our bond with the blood of a Heir.
Yeah, and as you're saying this, Logie has had the manacles put on him, and Harold has instructed the guards escorting you down the stairs to tell Gavin that you will be his. That this group will be his responsibility for the next couple of hours. As you exit the stairway, the wedding's still in progress, but seeming to be in its end stages. You see the guard who escorted you speaking to the one who confronted you, as you attempted to stealth up the stairs, and he kind of looks really exasperated that this is going to be his responsibility. Like he didn't really want to deal with you in the first place, and now he's going to be stuck with you for another couple hours. But he kind of falls into step alongside this motley crew.
Exasperated guard is the MVP of this guard patrol.
I shout to him, "Hey, I found my coin purse."
Yay! Good for you.
Good for me. God moves in mysterious ways to bless me.
So,
I thought Easterners didn't believe in gods.
Oh yes, we don't. It's sarcasm. I'm surprised you caught that though. Not a lot of people in the West seem to understand what atheism is.
I've studied a few foreign religions in my time, although I admit our knowledge of the Wushenko Isles is somewhat limited.
Limited, putting it lightly, I would say. He chuckles.
There's little to learn from each religion together. Perhaps, maybe more people can be respectful to gods or not. It is their choice.
Well said, says Joachim.
if they wish to put themselves into a crutch with religion, then let them. The monk shrugs nonchalantly.
The conversation is interrupted by Logi furiously rattling his manacles.
Calm, calm, my short brother. You shall be free of it in an hour or two. Until then, think of the vengeance that you on the face of that Heir, whatever it is. What is this Heir that you Westerners are so afraid of anyway?
Well, it's from the stories. It's
Wait,
like
wait
a
a
bat.
moment. Joachim
Only
shakes his
large.
head. No, I wouldn't say that's a good description, but you've been advocating us to fight this creature and you don't even know what it is.
I'm not big on sermons, even though I'm a priest. Usually, broken faces tend to teach the message pretty well. And if this Heir needs a beating, then the beating it shall have.
This will be a fine change to us.
So the guard Gavin, he kind of comes over to Logi, who's been rattling his chains, puts his hand on his shoulder. Right, no more of that.
Oh, what's he saying? No more of that too? Is he talking about the rattling of the chain?
Yeah, no more of that.
I turn to the guard and then I hold up 5 golden pieces. Is that a lot in this setting? I really can't tell.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. I hold up 5 golden pieces and say, "My good friend, you were so kind earlier to allow me to find my wallet, coin purse earlier. Perhaps if you would be negligent of your, if you would care to not pay attention to my shorter brother's angry outbursts, you might profit some way." And then the 5 gold jingles on my palm. I'm telling him to stop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Roll a persuasion, but it's going to be a pretty high DC.
Okay. He's unbribable. That's surprising. Oh, bloody hell.
Hard to be
Yep.
bright. Well, you're dead.
I don't know how things work where you're from, but around here, we hold our vigilance because we believe in something. Maybe you, from wherever the hell you're from, you don't have much respect for that. But I do. Got too much respect to take a bribe. Hell, gold doesn't do you really that much good in this port anyways.
You're better than the guards down in Menethos. Corruption is quite rife there.
Don't surprise me. Don't surprise me one bit.
The monk shrugs and then puts his coins back into his wallet. I'm in coin purse. Fair enough, he says.
Logi looks down, looking defeated. All right, I won't rattle the chains.
Thanks for that. Makes my job easier.
So, well, where are we going right now? Like, is there a waiting area that we stay in before? I mean, just to wait on the fight with the Heir to be arranged?
I propose a pub if there is one nearby.
I'm not sure we should drag someone into a pub while he's in chain. Not very good PR.
Well, we could possibly take you to our ship. If you
Oh,
want.
maybe. Sure, I would not mind seeing this ship. You said you came from my employer, yes? And that your employer is my employer's sister.
Yes.
Correct.
That makes us kind of how do you say it? Employee. Yes? My Westerner, it is not very perfect.
Employees-in-law?
Yes, that is it. Is it? I am not sure.
Well, you're coming with us either way.
Yes, I shall come with you.
Maybe we should visit this Akira Haranu. We seem to have time until we have to enter the pit.
Would you allow it, guard? And then I ask that to the guard, obviously.
Yeah, fine. little bit of a march, but it's not like you're doing anything that's too pressing.
Indeed, we aren't. Then to the jail we shall. Lead on, brave guardsmen,
Right, follow me. And you
and
kind
we
of,
follow. Unless anyone has something to do. That's out of character.
Nope.
Right, so to the jail.
grasps you by the elbow, Logi, and marches along with you north toward up the same road you came, and you pass. You go past the sort of the. Excuse me. Sort of the belching smoke and the hammers of the the little makeshift craftsman's district, past the what seems to be the residential area of the town, and you start to enter into this this area that's more, well, it's more like the section of town that you came through when you first entered Phasmatis, just past the dock. Very much derelict. However, at this point, it's if anything, even more so. The buildings, these sort of 2-3 story structures, they lean heavily on each other, looking like they're oh, sorry, 1 second. Yeah, looking like they're ready to collapse at any moment. And there are several places where you see that the buildings, in fact, have collapsed. At one point, Gavin has to sort of lead you over a part where the street is completely blocked by rubble, and you have to sort of scramble over the old bits of masonry and rotted wood to continue down this street. And you finally get to a small pocket where there is a little bit of civilization once more. A couple more of those sort of glass globe lanterns, and a couple guards standing in front of this this stone building. And because of how sturdily this building was constructed in some long ago time, it's holding up better than all the rest of the places in this very depressed part of town. However, the roof, which seems to have once been gabled wood, is more or less completely collapsed. The two guards, they kind of nod at Gavin as he leads you in. And the first thing you see is you enter this structure that enter this structure that you can now tell must have been a bank at one time, is this ghost. Not like the ghosts who you passed before, who mostly look like kind of translucent humans, but one that stands, at least, or if you can call it standing, I guess floats, 10 feet tall, and who doesn't have a clear face, but instead is hooded, and you just see kind of the green glow of two ethereal eyes somewhere deep within that hood. It kind of whips towards you as you enter, but doesn't make a move. It just kind of watches. And you, as Gavin sort of escorts you towards the back of this former half-collapsed bank, you see that you're entering the back of the section where the bank vaults once were, that now seem to be repurposed as jail cells. And there are only about 5 bank vaults, and it seems like at the moment only 2 of them are occupied. In one, you see kind of the threadbare figure of a man just in one corner, sleeping fitfully. But he keeps leading you past that to the vault at the very end.
Who is
And as
that
you
other
peek-
man? Asks Joachim.
Oh, beats me. I don't really keep abreast of everyone who breaks the laws. However, more than likely, he'll only be in here for a few days.
Says Joachim.
Anyways, this Ark, he should be there in the vault at the very end.
While heading
Thank
to
you.
the vault at the very end, I make a point to look at the other inmates. Just, wondering what they're like.
Yeah. So there's only one other inmate, and at the moment, he appears to be sleeping. His back is towards you. He's sort of curled up in a rough sort of Hessian cot that's more or less lying on the ground in the far corner of his, vault that's repurposed into a cell. You can't tell too much with the angle that he is from you, but he seems to be of fairly slight build, and his sleeping breath seems to come a bit irregularly.
That one doesn't look long for this world, the monk comments.
Joachim Joachim gives him a look.
Like what kind of look?
Slightly disapproving.
Ah, I get that a lot. Say, aren't you a cleric, father? Pian says. He's, eyes darting at the prone man. You reckon you can cure him back up? He does not look very healthy. That breathing, it's not natural.
Joachim's expression softens. I hadn't noticed. Well, I'm sure. Joachim looks at the guard. My companion seems to think this gentleman's unwell. Would you mind if I were to have a look at him while we're here?
Not gonna open up the cell, but, well, if you can wake him up and do your business through the bars, be my guest.
Joachim nods. Thank you. So much appreciated.
And no skin off my back.
As the rest of you continue, Joachim stops at the stops before the cell door and kneels, looking in at the fitfully sleeping man.
The man continues to sleep.
Medicine check?
Well, I am a medical. Well, my character does have a medical background, but I think in this case I'll be calling on somewhat less scientific means of healing. So, Joachim bows his head in prayer. Or no, wait, no, perhaps I should do a medicine check just to actually verify if there actually is something wrong with this man.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Alright then, I'll do that.
It might not be an HP, related thing. Could be some disease or something. I don't know.
Oh, wow. Very good. Oh, man, you've got a great big bonus. All right, so looking in on this man, it's a little bit hard to tell because he's, about 10 feet away from you and face the opposite direction. So you can really only judge by the movement of his back, by the sound of his breathing. But you hear the sound of, at first it sounds like phlegm, but then it sounds like something deeper in his lungs. You get the sense that maybe he's got the first stages of pneumonia, but at the same time, you also, just from seeing the other people in this town, none of them seemed like they were exactly in perfect health. It seems like kind of illness is par for the course in Phasmatis, at least for most of the residents. Though this man definitely does seem like he's a bit worse off than most.
All right, in that case, Joachim frowns, but then he clasps his hands together, bows his head in prayer, and utters a prayer of healing to Saradomin. Let's see, which spells do I have for this sort of thing?
And Gavin, he kind of nudges Logie, and he says, "So, put you in chains even though you got a priest with you?"
Who's Gavin?
I'm sorry. What?
Oh, you know, they put you in chains even though you're traveling with the priest. Seems like tough luck.
Oh, that will change in a couple of hours. We'll just pick up this Heir thing and be on our way.
Via.
Yes, we have decided that fighting a vampire is preferable to. Well, I have decided that fighting a vampire is preferable to being in chains, and the others are reluctantly accompanying me, with the exception of Trow. No, not Trow. What's his name?
Hyun. You can call me Hyun.
Hyun, who appears to be, well, he seems like the kind of person who likes to.
Oh, nothing beats a little scrap.
Like, or you going out into the mire to try to find a Via.
No, this is place, you call it the pit, yes?
The pit. Oh. Were you joining the Bone Patrol?
Goodness, no. I would not want to stay any longer in this town than I have to. No, it is just to clear the name of this short brother of mine.
As for me, by the way, I've done one of my healing spells or something, I suppose. I'm not certain which one. Maybe prayer. I need to look up. Well, does it really matter? Can I just say I use one of them?
Sure. Yeah. Did you not figure out how to look at your spells?
Yeah, I kind of got lost there.
It's on the, like, okay, look
Yeah,
under
I'm looking at your
experience
spells right now. So I'll say yeah, you've got Lesser Restoration, which I think is the best spell for you to use in this case. Let me see.
I think that's the only one that can actually cure a disease. I think the other
Yeah,
one's just healing.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's now you might not be able to yeah, it might be hard to, cure pneumonia with Lesser Restoration, and also you need to be in touch range. So, or you can just cast a regular healing spell, which just restores hit points. But maybe
All right,
you'll feel
then.
it and be grateful.
In that case, Joachim decides to get up and rejoin the rest of the group. Excuse me, Gavin, was it?
Yeah, that's right.
I think your other guest seems to be suffering from pneumonia. That sort of thing, well, it can be life-threatening, I'm a little worried about the conditions you're keeping your guests in. I do think I can remedy this particular situation, but I may need access to his cell for a moment, if that's all right with you.
I'm afraid that might be a little bit beyond my pay grade. I could have a word with the warden, maybe.
I would appreciate that, Joachim says.
Roll a persuasion check.
Oof.
Yeah, that's not very good, but you are a priest, so I'll say that just manages to persuade him. Yeah, I guess I'll ask him. Come on, come with me. And he kind of puts his hand on your back, Logie. Seems to be at least taking it seriously that he's got to watch you. So, Logie, you kind of walk along with Gavin the guard, back towards the front of this bank, and towards the very large hooded ghost. And Gavin kind of waves him down. Excuse me, Warden, sir. I'm sorry to bother you. I just well, this that priest over there. In Logie, you see him like point very animatedly towards Joachim, as if to try to absolve himself of any responsibility of this request. Well, he says that that the priest in cell 3, excuse me, that the man in cell 3 is very sick, says he's got pneumonia, and that he could maybe heal him. So, I mean, do you think we could let him in for just a second? And then this 10-foot tall ghost kind of just looms over Gavin, and you see Gavin kind of cower slightly, and you just hear this whisper. You don't know what's being said, but Gavin, you see him clutch just beneath his shirt, and as the ghost kind of goes back and Gavin straightens up again, Logie, you see in his hand, he's holding another small skull carved in soapstone with a greenish tint to it that's on a narrow cord around his neck. He says, right, well, like, let's say it's only 60 seconds, no more than that. And let me just do a roll to see what the warden says. Oh. And when Gavin tries to negotiate, the warden like almost seems to grow another 6 feet, seems to almost surround this whole part of the room, and a much louder right. I'm sorry, shouldn't have even asked. Sorry. We won't worry about that. I'm sure he'll be fine. He'll be out in a few days, right? And he ushers you, Logie, quickly back to the rest of the group. And Gavin approaches you, Joachim. Oh, the warden said no. Sorry about that.
Well, says Joachim. Thank you for trying at any rate. I'll see what I can do for him, but... Joachim shakes his head. I'd like to speak to the council about this afterwards, if I may.
Right, well, then I guess you better try to take it up with them after.
Joachim nods.
Well then, are we going to talk to the person we came here to talk to?
The rest of you go on ahead. I'll be just a moment.
Alright, and if I
Right.
may, perhaps I should use comprehend languages to actually understand what everybody's saying.
To understand what everyone's saying?
Does that work on ghosts, though?
I mean, it is any spoken language.
Yeah, but is it a language what ghosts do?
Yeah, roll just a general intelligence check.
14.
Yeah, that's enough. I'll say that you know, or at least you've been able to kind of glean from the way that things seem to operate, and from what you've heard, maybe secondhand about ghost hunters or exorcisms or things like that. That ghosts don't actually speak a different language. That their language is the same thing that they spoke in life, but they communicate via some other means. Their words almost exist on another plane, and that there are special means needed to be able to interact with them.
So I still need the ghost speaking amulet.
Yeah, comprehend languages probably isn't going to do you too much good here.
Fine, I won't use it right now. but I'm pretty
Right.
sure it should work.
Before we move along to Haranu's cell, Logi sort of walks to Joachim, sort of looking at the guard and nudging with his head to indicate that he's going to move closer to him.
Yeah, and that's fine, but, you know, Gavin comes with you.
Yeah, so instinctively, Logi tries to put a hand on Joachim's shoulder, but as he raises his arms, he realizes that, oh yeah, they're in chains. Wait, are they shackled behind my back or
In front. In front.
Okay, so I could. Well, it's kind of awkward, so he doesn't put his hand on his shoulder, but he says, "You know, Joachim, half this town is already dead or dying. I know you mean well, but you should remember why we're here. He's just one person."
Ouch.
So are you, and so am I, for that matter, says Joachim.
Yes, I'm just not sure if this is the right time. But I won't stop you.
Thank you, says Joachim. So as we pass the cell with the other guy, Joachim kneels and utters a quiet prayer, casting, let's see, whoops, that was a misclick, one moment.
I sure do hope you'll pick up Resurrection when the time comes.
I think healing word is probably good for this. So Joachim utters some healing words from the Saradominist scriptures.
Okay, you do so, and as you speak these words, you feel, you know, a warmth within you going through your hands. Actually, let me look at healing word real quick. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a range of 60 feet. So you say this through your hands, and then kind of you see this sort of glimmer, almost a dapple of light on the man sleeping at the other end of the cell. And there doesn't really seem to be any visible change. However, you feel a warmth within you, and you feel like you have done some good for him, even if you're not sure what that good has been.
Joachim sighs and rises to his feet, then hurries to rejoin the rest of the group.
All right, the rest of the group is now convening at the far end of this hallway, in front of a cell where you see a man. He's seated right now, though he looks like he would be quite tall if standing up. Appears to be wearing a well-worn hakama beneath a sort of maroon open robe. He's got his hair in a messy top knot, a long beard and mustache, you know, kind of a Fu Manchu style. He's just leaning heavily on his knees. Doesn't look up, doesn't react to you guys coming in. He's just looks defeated.
Akira Haranu? Asks Joachim.
I prefer Ak Haranu.
Forgive me, Akharanu. Joachim nods.
And he kind of looks up at you. Who told you that name?
Well, it was none other than your own sister, Jo Ni Haranu.
Joachim nods. She is currently docked on her ship in this very port, waiting for you. She's come to take you home.
You work for Johnny.
We do. This is
You are
Joachim.
part of a crew.
We are.
All these years. And she finds me like this.
Joachim frowns, trying to determine what he means by this. I'm sure you've looked better, sir, but family tends to understand these things.
Well, I would advise you to go back to your employer and tell her that you have not managed to find Akira Haranu. You've only managed to find a fragment of what Akira Haranu once was. A fragment in which she, no doubt, would have no interest.
Joachim's frown deepens. I'm uncertain what you've been through, sir, but Joni has gone to great lengths to find you. If I may speak frankly, I don't believe it'll be a wise idea for any of us to attempt to lie to her.
I am not asking you to lie. I am only telling you truth. I only tell truth. At this point, he kind of, for the first time, notices the monk among you. Yun, you know these men.
Can't hear you again.
And Yun doesn't respond, so he, just diverts his attention away from the monk.
Sorry. So I was wondering why you were not. I mean, okay, I was saying some things and then you weren't reacting. So okay, so I shake my head at his question and saying, no, but they claim to have come with your sister. Now I have not seen your sister, but perhaps they could be of use in getting you out of the jail. Not illegally, I assure you, he says to the guard, just to make him not very nervous. But, just doing little favors for the council, maybe? A series of favors?
Hopefully not more than one.
I do not think any number of favors will get me out of this cell. They accuse me of trading with vampires. And they're correct.
Oh, well, I didn't know that.
Logi pipes up. What did you trade with them?
Nothing much. Trinkets. I did not know that he was a vampire. He appeared as any other human traveler. He
A
first,
shapeshifter.
perhaps. I've never interacted with the Vyas myself. Well, at least until a couple of days ago.
And this man, you know where he is? Where did you meet him when you met him to trade? You know, you could have kind of told me about this. I am your bodyguard, you know?
It did not seem like anything much at the time. I have traded all over Wushankos. I've traded in Phasmatis. I know. Here, especially. Do not ask questions. I met him maybe a half mile, maybe more, just west of town, beyond the farm. Seemed like a traveler. He had a chest of antiques. Many here, many on Waiko. They enjoy such items. He was offering them cheaply. At first, he tried to trade for my amulet. And his fingers kind of go for, again, another one of these skull-shaped amulets around his neck. But when I refused, he accepted coin. It was only after I suspected, maybe an hour later, I suspected that there was something off about him. I did not tell anyone. Perhaps I should have.
We could maybe track down this client of yours and grab him back to prove the council that you weren't a knowing traitor.
Do you really think it's wise to bring a vampire into the walls of this safe haven?
Is a fire really that dangerous? The monk asks.
Well, they can shape into people, and those people aren't really to be trusted.
Hold on, sorry, Trow, we can't hear you if you're talking.
I heard him.
Test.
I heard him too.
I heard him.
So
Well, I didn't hear him.
what I said was, is a fire really that dangerous that you would fear him so much?
Person who can shape himself into somebody else is not somebody to be trusted.
Life is too short for fear. If you fear something, punch it. It'll go away or it'll attack you. Either way, it makes way for fear and for.
I'm not sure it's that simple when it comes to vampires, Joachim says grimly.
Maybe a bigger hand would be necessary. I chuckle
And
slightly.
Gavin pipes up. Oh, no vampires in the walls of the city. None unless the council allows it. You know, you're all outsiders who might not know this, but we've got a barrier around the city. A sort of phantasmal barrier. But it keeps out fires at least. Keeps out all the undead.
Then how was this fire in the pit dragged in there?
Oh well, special occasion. They lowered the barriers. That doesn't usually happen, but they thought it could be useful for the new trainees. At least that's what I understand.
So that's a no on the capturing the client then. How else will we prove my employer's non-innocence? I mean, he's not innocent. He did trade with vampires. Well, not
Surely, however, Joachim looks over at Gavin. He can't be blamed for this. If the stories I've heard are true, vampires are tremendously wily. I'm sure you would know that better than I, of course.
Well, not my decision to make, mate.
It seems we have some ways to go to convince the counselors of the benefits of letting my employer go.
Haranu, you have traded with vampires, but I assume you have also traded with the inhabitants of Port Phasmatis.
I have for over a year now.
Yes, and would you say the town has improved from the import of your wares?
There are definitely those, some of my regular customers who I think I help. I was actually that way because I was visiting Lyra. She runs the farm out there. She doesn't get into town much, at least that's what I understand. But I buy staple goods, bring those to her. I trade often with the custodian up there in the tower. She enjoys relics from the east, soothsaying trinkets, that sort. There's a couple in town I trade with often too. Consecrated help, hard to find, but you occasionally come across it in some of the smaller islands. But aside from that, I trade in crossbows, I trade in eastern medicines, I bring in tools. Think I have helped this town in my way.
How many of the councillors voted for your imprisonment?
I am not certain.
Did they not vote in front of you?
No, I was taken in after the decision had been made.
I see.
My friends, I suggest that if we survive this fit, we should bring these citizens to the council to prove to them the good Akira Haranu has done to this town.
The monk agrees and nods. That does seem like a prudent decision. Although we may able to further bolster our standing in the council if we do one small favor for them. Heh, heh, heh.
For reasons he can't quite discern, the phrase "one small favor" sends a shiver down Logi's back.
I hope it is one small favor and not like 20 small favor.
Oh no, it's in the name, you see. One small favor. I mean, it even specifies it's small, so just a little good, mutual good. We help the council with some things that they need doing, and
I believe you, and at the same time don't believe you.
the monk shrugs and continues, and we get our employer, I mean my employer and your employer's brother back. It seems like a mutually beneficial trade.
Fitting for a merchant. We have our plan.
Anyway, for now, I hope you fare well, my employer. Are you sure there is nothing else that you traded in? And the monk looks oddly focused when he asks this to Haranu.
I only traded him coin, Western coin. He gave me a chest. He gave me suggestions of what I might do with the antiques that he sold to me. At the time, it seemed like good business advice from one trader to another. However, after I got into town, I felt like there was something sinister about it, almost as if he'd been in my head.
So it's possible that you were influenced.
I don't know. There were a few items in there. He told me the sort of clients I might sell them to.
What kind of antiques were these?
They were very high quality. Though most in town are concerned mainly with the essentials. by necessity. There are those who enjoy collecting antiques, relics of the past. It is an industry here. There was a holy symbol, not like the one that you wear, but in the archaic style, asymmetrical. Told me that I might make a tidy profit selling it to a priest. There was some jewelry, a ruby pendant and a small ring, a matching pair. He said it would be perfect for a young couple. There was an icon, silver, of... I tried to remember the name. Of Saint Ziliana. He said any warrior would be happy to carry that charm. And lastly, a brooch. Petrified wood. Blister wood, he called it. Authentic. Told me not to let that one go too cheap. That my council might have a use for that. Though I never had the chance to sell any of them. Gave them all to me in this very nice chest, which the council confiscated. And, well, I was on my way.
Would you have the key to this chest?
No. As far as I know, it was... Well, it didn't have a lock. But as far as I know, the chest and its contents are held by the council.
I see.
One
the mob
thing...
looks... Okay, yeah, go on.
One thing I remember, I didn't think anything of it at the time. There are many wild creatures in the haunted woods. I heard wolf howls as I was walking away. Maybe I was a quarter mile away from where I met the traveler, and I hastened back to Plasmatis because of this.
These are very interesting points. And perhaps you will remember not to go around traveling without your bodyguard next time, the monk says, looking at him significantly.
Joachim looks thoughtful. A vampire looking to offload holy artifacts. Something seems off about that.
Are we sure he's a vampire? Are you sure he's not like actual human instead of a transformed vampire? How do you tell the difference? How can you tell it's a vampire?
I am not sure how they were so certain, but from what I heard, the chest and some of the items were vampiric.
Not so holy after all, then.
Are the items legitimate? Could this be some sort of trick on the part of the vampires?
But why would the vampires offload items from some other cult? The Saint Ziliana's item, for example.
Yeah, and Joachim, hearing that, you immediately recognize the name as one of the more legendary figures in Saradominus mythology, in the mythology of the Third Age.
Ziliana. That's said to be one of the Icene of Saradomin. Claimed to have fought in the God Wars of the Third Age. I don't know that those wars were literal, of course. Many of us interpret them as a more spiritual struggle between the forces of light and darkness within one's heart. Whether such a big figure as Ziliana truly existed is something I can't attest to. However, this artifact no doubt has some religious or historical interest.
We will have to find out after we get our friend unshackled. After all, we can't do a snooping while he's in chains.
Well, we can without him. Sorry.
Speaking of which, I think it's getting close to time. We're going to need to start walking back pretty soon if you want to get to the pit in time for your appointment.
Excellent. It is time to finally punch something. Lead on, brave guardsman.
May I ask? I didn't bring a weapon. Can I have one?
They arranged it in near the pit, that they said.
Right. I'll
Yeah,
ask them later.
Yeah, they'll have our equipment ready and wherever there is.
All right. Come on. Follow me. And you exit the bank turned to jail. Haranu not making eye contact with you, just looking down at his feet as you leave, not saying goodbye or anything. And you march back through the decrepit part of town, back into the more civilized area, and kind of turn down a street. And this is now the most well-lit, kind of brightest, friendliest street that you've seen so far. It almost looks like it could be like the shittiest part of a real city.
As we go, can I strike up a conversation with the guard?
Sure.
Gavin, is it?
That's right.
Oh. How much do you know about this Juvenate, I believe it's called, that we are going to fight?
Oh, Juvenate. I don't really know that much myself. I mean, I was never part of the Bone Patrol. More like to stick within the city, but as I understand, they're a type of vampire, sort of mid-tier. I think there are different steps of being a vampire. Don't exactly understand how it works, but they a few months ago managed to catch a couple of them unawares, beat them within an inch of their lives, and brought them in here. And they keep them shackled. And as you now enter this relatively cheery part of the city, he says, "Right there," and he points towards sort of a half boarded up building that has the look of perhaps being a pub, though right across from it you see what very clearly is a pub, if nothing else from the cask sort of piled up outside, and the couple of the drunken pair sort of hanging out outside. Atop the pub across from where he was pointing, you see a sign that says "The Ghost and Sickle," and on the pub, not the pub, but what looks like it was a pub that he's pointing to that is now mostly boarded up, there is a sign kind of hanging just on one chain wildly from a post, and you see painted over very poorly, it says "The Green Ghost," and he turns back towards you. "Yeah, they used to be a brewery, as I understand. Chained him up down there."
That's an inviting sign.
Oh, I suppose in certain circles.
So this pit is under the bar?
That's right.
Well then.
Is it safe to keep such a creature down there?
Probably not.
Well, might as well head in.
Yes, you sort of leads you around the side of this place that was the Green Ghost Inn, and you see an entrance, well guarded, on the back of it, away from the main street. There are about 4 guards there, and they all part to let you in, expecting you. And as you enter this former pub, let's take a little 10-minute break.
All right.
Okay.
Sure.
I kind of have to pick something up in real life, but I don't, want to miss miss the fight against this vampire, so I'm not sure what I should do.
Real life always comes first. How long will it take, this picking thing up?
Well, could take, I don't know, could take a little while, actually. Well, not too long. Let me, figure this out. If I were to leave now, and, right, I might be back in 20 or 25 minutes, but not sure if you guys would want to wait that long.
Would it be better if we didn't take a break and we just kind of powered through here and then you went to get your thing after?
We could put him on autopilot and during combat.
Well, let me think that over. I ought to be there by 5:30. It's currently 4:45. It may take me 15 minutes or so to get over there. So, debating this at the moment. I probably should, I don't know how long this fight will take, but I probably should, at the least get going, I don't know, within the next 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, the fight might take longer than that. You should probably go get your thing.
Okay then. Hopefully I don't miss anything too interesting. And this should be good though, using a cleric with holy powers fighting a vampire.
Yeah,
Particularly
probably.
since he does have holy water in his, amongst his items. If you recall.
If you aren't too against it, Ron might be able to autopilot you in the process.
Right. We might, yeah. And I do approve the usage of the holy water and such. Just make this pretty interesting if you can.
Yep. So that's yes to the 10-minute break continuation, boss. That's to Rond. Just gonna go wash my hands.
Suppose we were to refrain from, I don't know. I would like to see at least a little bit of the fight, so can we perhaps avoid the break?
I think Ron's already gone somewhere. He's turned his microphone off.
Ah, alright.
We could have some character development in the meantime while you're out.
Okay,
Figure we might have some things which aren't that important, and you'll probably be back by the time we're finished.
Okay, then.
I could
Thanks,
ask for
I appreciate
information
that.
about the vampire from someone who
Yeah,
actually knows
okay.
what the vampire is.
Thank you. I really appreciate this. And if I take too long, as I said, it might take 20, 25 minutes to be back. If I exceed that, please do continue without me.
All right.
All right, thank you. Then I'll see you guys soon, I hope.
Howdy, everybody.
Howdy.
So,
Howdy.
so we're in the pit now.
Indeed. Well, let's take you there. See, it's pretty spooky.
Spooked. Oh, is this Skyrim?
I'm not sure where all of the images that I got came from. You know, a lot of
Yeah.
these I just searched online. You know, like crypt fantasy art above
Yeah, gotcha.
size, and just pick the first one. Oh yeah, I guess this is actually rendered and not painted. I don't know. Maybe it is Skyrim. I never played Skyrim.
So you haven't played Minecraft or Skyrim?
I'm sorry.
You uncultured person? No. Well, you play RuneScape. That's pretty cultured, I guess.
But he
Yeah,
doesn't
that's what
play
all the real
RuneScape
gamers play.
Classic.
So, is everyone here?
Everyone who will be here is here.
Oh,
I am here.
beautiful, lovely.
I'm here, and is that Skyrim?
I guess so.
It just looks a bit similar to the first dungeon. Anyway, the pit.
So you enter into this. You see kind of the
By the way,
torn-
Kitty said he'll be back in like 20-25 minutes when we took a break, so we
Okay,
can
well,
keep on talking.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'll steer Joachim in the meantime, and then I'm not sure how long this combat will go, so we'll see. There's a good chance he'll still be in the middle of it when by the time he comes back.
No.
Mm-hmm.
So you enter into
Pardon? Fine.
the broken remains of what once was, at least judging from the sign outside, the Green Ghost Inn. You see as you enter the gloom, past the boarded up windows and doors, broken tables, torn over stools. Looks like there was some sort of a great scuffle in here at some point that tore most of whatever remains of the tavern this once was. However, it also looks like it happened quite some time ago from the heavy layer of dust over most of the bar outside of this well-trod path towards the cellar door, almost as if no one could be bothered to try to clean it up after. As these 4 guards kind of escort you towards the cellar door, you see that it's not like a regular basement door. It seems extremely heavy, and it's bound in these irregular bands of silver. There's several nails into it on which are hung holy symbols and small bits of what look like Saradominus scripture. And on either side of it, you're almost overwhelmed by the stench of these 2 braziers that seem to be burning garlic. The guards, they kind of look towards each other, and they very cautiously open the door and gesture you inside rather quickly, and 2 of them follow in with you. Yoon, one of them kind of puts a hand on your shoulder. You look towards him, and you see he's got a deep, deep purple bruise on his jaw. You recognize him as one of the guards you assaulted when they were trying to bring you in. He says,
And my employer in. Oh, hello.
"Oh yeah,
Nice to see a familiar face.
listen, don't care much for you, but you're a damn good fighter. It would be a shame to see someone who's a damn good fighter on the human side go down for some bullshit like this. So, got a little something for you. Go out on the bone patrol from time to time. Just hang on to this during the fight." And he hands you a strange weapon. Hold on a second. Let me put it in in your journal. So, if you look at your stuff, you should see that you now are in possession of a silver tabak. He hands this to you, and it's a strange weapon. It's not like anything that you've seen before. It appears to be two silver cast sickles with a small chain joining them. Looking at it, you're not sure how you'd even go about using it, but he hands it to you and gives you a little nod. Even though you clearly had an altercation in the past, he seems genuine. And at this, Stephen, the guard who confiscated the rest of your weapons on the docks, he kind of comes up to you with a very large, like a sort of golf club looking stack, and one by one hands you back all of your implements. And when he gets to you, Logie, he finally goes and kneels down and undoes your manacles.
Just one question.
Yes.
The silver tabak, does it count as a monk weapon? Mechanically speaking.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I've never played as a monk. I've never played with a monk, and I'm not totally sure of the mechanics.
Basically, it means I can do monk stuff with the weapon.
You know what? Let's just say yeah.
All right. I mean, it's kind of like a nunchaku, so.
Yeah, it is. It is.
All
sure.
right.
We'll call it a monk weapon.
Okay.
Can I ask the guard for an extra spare weapon since I didn't bring one in? Didn't think we'd be fighting something.
They kind of look towards each other. I mean, only weapons we've got is the ones we're carrying.
I'll return it after this fight, I promise.
Roll a persuasion check.
While he's doing that, I would like to nod my thanks to the guard and say, thanks, you were a pretty good fight too. Shame you are rotting in this town. You could do some real good, going around adventuring.
I have bonuses in this, and it's 12.
12 is actually exactly what you needed. So, one of the guards, he says, well, I've actually got this thing that I lifted from a pirate, and he takes out what looks like a cutlass, which, he just happens to have, not because it's something that's already on your sheet and you don't have to input a whole new thing, but just because that's what he has.
Convenient.
Great how it works out like that.
Now I need a rapier again.
Yeah. He hands you the cutlass and he says, yeah, I never seen so few people try to go after these. Usually it's sort of a mass mob assault. Best of luck to you. You're not sure if you're brave or if you're stupid. Probably a little bit of both.
Thank you for this item. I will hopefully be able to make more difference with this.
I certainly hope so too. And so the guards back off, except for two of them, and they're not like the other guards. Most of them, they're kind of in a patchwork assortment, sort of badly sewn together leather, maybe with a few different patches on it. Weapons that are not at all standardized. Some of them look like they're repurposed farm tools. But these two guards who now go forward into the center of the gloom of this dark crypt-like room, they're much more built. They're not, these gaunt figures like most of the people in this town. And their skin is a good few shades darker. They look like their origin is from somewhere different than most of the residents of Phasmatis. And they go kind of into the darkness, and you can see this sort of glimmer of reddish light where they go to, and you hear a sort of almost with a morbid curiosity. You step forward and you see the light shines on this horrid bat-like visage. You see it's got one, its arms both sort of splayed out. As it rears its head forward, you see that the bat-like features are actually only in a face that is otherwise strangely, not strangely, but almost grotesquely human-shaped. It feels like there is something wrong about seeing this face coming out of that head. It's not making any words, but it's just kind of hissing at the guards on either side. One of them calls out, "Are you ready?"
Ready as we'll ever be. Men live, men die. Change is good.
Ditto.
Could I just get a cup, some water first?
And the large guards at the center, they kind of look towards the other, weaker, paler guards behind you, nods to one of them, and one of them takes out a flask and just hands it to you. The flask is full of water.
All right. Is it all right with you if I cast Armor of Laying before the fight, or should I do it during the fight?
Yeah, you've got a few moments here, and the vampire is currently still chained. You can tell from here that the chains around him, they appear to be this bluish silver, and they're going from his arms to these two very large, sturdy stone posts on either side. So any spells you want to cast, anything you want to do to prepare, you can do right now. And also, Natrix, remember your staff can now act as a spell focus.
Yes, that's good.
Very well, very well. I'll cast Armor of Laying then.
All right, Aesir casts Armor of Laying. It's almost looks like the very tail end of a splash of water around his whole midsection. And he seems to have a little bit of a glow to him.
I guess I'll ready up Shillelagh.
All right.
Yeah, it doesn't matter when I cast that, but
Okay, can I use Mantle of Inspiration?
what?
Yeah, probably. I'm sorry, I forget what Mantle of Inspiration does, but
Well, it's a feature from the Glamour College which grants 5 hit points up to my Charisma modifier people.
Oh, neat.
oh, like a 5 temporary. Oh yeah, absolutely. So you
Transform into, well, technically it's a wonderful appearance, but I want to just add a small, like, orange glow around my instruments.
Yeah. So you wait, what is your charisma modifier? Your charisma modifier is 3. So you can choose 3 people to give these hit points to.
All right, good. I'll choose. Well, technically, I can also choose another person with heroism, like individually on one of them.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, to my everybody but me basically gets extra hit points.
Why, thank you.
All right. Is heroism also your charisma modifier?
Heroism is not my charisma modifier.
Or no, I think it is because it's your spellcasting ability modifier, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
then
that's
yeah.
charisma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here.
All right. So everyone.
Well, spellcasting is charisma plus your proficiency, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's the spellcasting ability modifier.
There is
okay,
a separate block for temporary hit points right beneath your current hit points.
Yeah, I just saw it.
But
Yeah, so
how
everyone
many hit points is it?
5.
Okay, who wants the regenerating heroism hit points?
I don't think I need it.
I'm already getting 10 temporary hit points from Armor of Lane.
Okay, so our monk, who is seemingly going to be in his face, will get them.
All right then, thank you. So how many additional hit points is that? Temporary. Okay, so 10 temporary hit points. Oh, we're pretty biffy for level 3s.
Wait, did everyone also get a +5?
Yes.
Well, I think you actually get a +3 from the Mantle of Inspiration, not a +5.
Well, not me, but you know that's
Yeah.
for that one.
But
guy.
everyone
Okay,
else.
everyone else.
So everyone else, you get +3 temporary hit points.
Says 5.
Yeah, it's 5 temporary hit points. The one that matters is the modifier, which
Oh,
determines
5.
the
There we
number of
are.
people.
There we are. I'm sorry. I was thinking of the number of creatures and not that it said 5.
Yeah,
I misread
Yeah.
that.
All right.
Sorry for that. Sorry for that.
No
Yes.
problem.
So everyone gets 5. Everyone gets 5. Man alive, everyone gets 5.
Except for me, of course, since I don't have an extra one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have a quick
Now she'll
question.
enter. Oh, okay. Go on talking.
Oh, Rond, my wild shape normally I can't cast spells with it, but with my alternate wild shape, because of my druid circle, the symbiotic entity, am I able to cast spells in that? Because a wild shape says when you transform you can't cast spells, but the symbiotic entity says instead of transforming, do the alternative thing, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're still wild shaping, right?
No, it's using the wild shape ability, but it's
Yeah, it's unearthed arcana, so it's a
Yeah.
little
Oh, it's a bit
circle of
dodgy.
spores. So instead of transforming, I just gain temporary hit points and some extra buffs as well. I'm just wondering if I can cast
Yeah.
spells while I'm doing that.
Yeah, usually spell casting ability is lost for when wild shaping period. So unless
Yes.
the Unearthed Arcana says something specifically against it, I don't think it would.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how it is for balance, but it makes sense that an animal can't cast spells, but it doesn't really make sense that you'd, get stronger and then you couldn't cast spells. So yeah, I'll let you cast spells with your symbiotic entity.
Okay. I don't think I'll use it right now, but that's good to know.
All right. So, is everyone done what they're going to do?
Oh yeah.
This looks
So I'd
familiar.
like you.
I will. No, it doesn't. Okay, one last thing I propose to the party. I learned a lot of tricks from the Sea Singers. One in particular can make one of us invisible for an hour. Does that seem necessary for this fight?
Does it break on combat?
Yes.
Then I don't think it's very necessary unless you want to sneak around your turn, which might be useful.
Yeah, you could do a sneak attack if you want.
Yeah, okay, that sounds good.
That is during the fight, per se.
So I mean, like, if we're all invisible, we begin all with a surprise round, basically.
Yeah, but I can't make all of us invisible.
Ah, okay, yeah. Then just pick someone who might be useful, and then boom,
Well,
invisible.
then again, I don't have to use it right now.
Yeah, you don't have to. I mean, I'm just saying, you can if you want.
Maybe later. We're
Alright.
ready?
Are we ready? Roll initiative or
Ready as ever.
Yeah, I don't do initiative rolls.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
How do we
Well,
determine?
I want to ask you, what order do you guys want to go in?
I can go in first if nobody's tank.
Yeah, we need a tank. I'm not going first.
All right, I'm going first.
All right. Then who's going after him?
Well,
I
I
think-
figure since well, unless Notrix wants to go second.
No, I don't mind.
Well, I figure that since my freedom is at stake here, I'm going to be particularly invested.
Well, technically,
And,
I can cast True Strike to be first, and then let you all beat them up while they have disadvantage.
Wait, so Worsens, you want to go first?
I'll just right now discuss. I have a True Strike. I can make them have disadvantage rolls.
Could you post the effects of this True Strike?
Wait, never mind. It's not disadvantage.
Okay.
Here, target's defenses. Never mind. Oh wait,
Yes.
I gain.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not for everyone. I was just wondering because that sounded really powerful,
Yeah, my bad. Sorry.
especially for a cantrip. Ooh la la.
No. Yeah, Yeah. Never mind. Keep on with the original. I'll cast it mid-battle then, if needed.
So I'm first, and second is who?
Me, unless anyone objects.
Yeah.
Right.
So Yun, Logi, who next?
Who's
I'll
third?
go third.
All right. Who is fourth?
Or me.
And then the
Matrix.
priest is last.
Worsens, and then Joakim.
Yeah, because he's not here.
And he's also a healer, so he's useful in the back. He does have holy water though. But anyway, I shall charge in. I have 50 feet of movement, and he's only 22 feet away.
Yeah. Well, before you
Lovely.
do that,
Alright.
I just want to make sure. Are you casting invisibility after all?
Not right now, no.
All right. So, the two very burly guards, they call back to you. Are you ready?
Never been readier. I want to bit this thing. Never bitten it, so might as well.
Actually, I'm gonna move you guys back a little bit because you're actually closer to the back wall here.
All right.
And the two guards sort of look at each other, nod, kind of on a silent 3 count. They pull the chains out of their place in these two pillars and rush to the sides of the room. The Heir, he kind of feeling himself free. He jumps to his feet, looks around, eager to rend flesh. You see drool dripping from his fangs. He's not really a bestial shape. He's mostly the shape of a human, but there's something grotesque, something wrong about the way that he's moving. It seems more animalistic than any sort of civilized creature.
Right. Shall I move then?
Sure.
I mean, is it the monster's turn? Because I don't know. Like,
It's your turn now. I'll
Alright.
tell you his turn.
so I move here, and then I have a go at it with the newly found silver tabak. And is 16 I hit?
You wield your silver tabak, kind of swinging it around. Bam! You manage to hit him right in the side, though just barely. It's a very unwieldy implement,
Hmm.
and he kind of hisses as this silvered blade gashes into his side, and his eyes fix you with utter hatred. Are you going to do anything else this turn?
Yes, I am using my martial arts class feature to do to use bonus action and
I'm
do-
back.
Yeah, welcome back. We just started attacking the damn thing.
Nice timing.
Yes, you're at the last of the initiative, or whatever you want to call it, the turn order. So I currently hit it with the silver tabak, and now I'm using my monk class feature, to use bonus action to unarmed attack, which misses. And now that I've hit it, I've expended 22 feet of movement, so I still have 20. I have like 28. So I move, wait, let me just check again, 25 feet to here to make it expand. its own movement if it wants to come to me. I have mobile feet, so it cannot do opportunity attacks. I will post the effects here, and that's my turn.
Very good. So you swing, but it's too fast for you. It dodges it seemingly very easily.
Mm-hmm.
It's just got full of rage. Now it's the Juvenet's turn, and it kind of looks around wildly, seeing these four at the far end of the hall, looking like they're ready to try to do it some sort of harm, and also looking at the monk who just hit it. And he decides to go for the monk who just whapped him with this bizarre silver weapon. He rushes up to you, and he tries to grapple you.
Oh god, the grappling rules. I hope you have 5 books. Yep, that at 15 attack is a hit.
Yeah. So he reaches forward with his, these fingers that look like they maybe once were human, but now have sharpened into these just nasty black claws, sinks them into your shoulders. You feel yourself grappled, and he tries to bite you. Ooh, he is rolling pretty good. And he sinks his fangs right into your neck, dealing 5 piercing and 12 necrotic damage.
Ouch.
Yeah. Definitely very painful. That's already all of my temporary HP gone, and 2 more to seal the deal. There we go.
All right, now also you need to roll a Constitution saving throw.
Let's see. Here we go. Oh, 11.
Oh, that just does it. You feel him trying to drain your very life essence out of you, but you manage to resist with your resolve, with your discipline, with your inner strength, and keep him from, weakening you in even greater ways. And that is the end of the Juvenet's turn. All right, Logi, it's your turn now.
All right.
So
I'll move 12. I move 20. Sorry, I keep letting go of the talk button.
Oh, no, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. But anyway, I move into a suitable position, and then I'll use my action to summon my pact weapon. I clench my fist, and lo and behold, a weapon springs forth.
All right. Now, all of you are sort of in awe. You've never seen Logi do this before, but he seems to clench his fist and then open his hand, and you see a glow from within his right hand. Suddenly there's a flame within, and out of this flame emerge these twisting, blackened branches. They seem to coalesce into what almost looks like a draconic shape, and it belches forth this stream of molten metal that curls and spires until it becomes the barrel of a gun, of a musket. The musket that you saw only when you first boarded the Liandao, which seemed to disappear. It seems like you've now discovered what's happened to the musket, that it has become part of Logi's arsenal. This wicked musket has what appears to be a twisted bayonet on one end, and what seem to be small bits of quartz embedded in the grip.
Wait, since when can he learn that? I address the others, hoping for a response.
So, Logi, it
sorry,
does
what
take...
did you say?
Since
Logi
when
summons
can
his weapon.
he do that?
Hello, Major.
So, Logi, it does take an action to do that. So, is that your whole turn?
Yes, I believe so.
All right. So Logi's got his packed musket held ready. Now next, Notrix.
Okay. So I'm going to move up. Move up here. Move up here. And I'm going to cast my anti-vampire spell. Oh, whoops. I didn't say the description. 1 second. There we go, because the description is quite important.
Oh
to this
boy.
one.
Let me see. Silvery beam of pale light shines down in a 5-foot radius. When a creature enters the spell's area for the first time on a turn or starts its turn there, it is engulfed in ghostly flames, cause searing pain, and it must make a Constitution saving throw. It takes 2d10 radiant damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one.
Nice.
Shapechanger makes its saving throw with disadvantage. Oh, he's a shape changer. If it
I
fails,
know.
it also instantly reverts to its original form and can't assume a different form until it leaves the spell's light. Well, it's already in its original form, but it still makes a saving throw with disadvantage. On each of your turns after you cast a spell, you can use an action to move the beam 60 feet in any direction. Oh, that is very nice. So, if I'm reading this right, then he doesn't make his saving throw until he starts his turn.
Yeah, so it'll be like next combat round, basically.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
So, you cast that, there's this beam of silver light that seems to fill this dank dungeon. It almost seems like, like the light of an open, pale moon, the light of a clear night like Phasmatis has never seen. And the Heir, he sort of cowers from this light from an indeterminate source. Notrix is...
I would just like to note, when a creature enters the spell's area for the first time, so it does have to roll right now, but I'm just saying from after that, yeah.
Sure, yeah, that's fine. Let me do a Constitution roll for him.
I misread too, so nice.
Oh,
Isn't it
but
with
he
You need to roll
disadvantage?
twice. Yeah, you need to roll twice.
Oh,
and then
yeah,
roll
yeah.
one.
Disadvantage, of course. Sorry, forgot that.
Oh my
And he
god.
rolls the exact same thing.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. So he's cowers at this glow, but seems to be able to shake it off.
Well, maybe next
No,
turn.
he still takes 2d10. I mean, it takes 2d10 damage on the failsafe or half as much
Yeah,
damage.
half damage.
Yeah, so
he
it rolled a
takes,
7.
I guess he takes 4 damage from that.
Yep.
Ooh,
Awesome.
rounding up.
Awesome.
Yeah,
And-
they usually round up for this kind of stuff.
And as my bonus action, I'm going to do the Halo of Spores.
Oh,
I don't think
boy.
I have... Pardon?
Oh, I
don't-
said, oh boy.
Oh. It's not that impressive.
Actually, yeah, we changed Halo of Spores so that you actually do have to use it as a reaction.
Oh,
But,
as a reaction.
if you stay there and he attacks Yoon again, then you can use it.
Oh, okay. I'll
Yeah.
wait then.
Still waiting on my turn, by the way.
It's not your turn yet, Joaquin. So is that it for you, Notrix?
I think so.
All right, Worsened. What are you going to do?
Hmm,
Worsen?
I'm here.
Okay.
Okay, can I see any sort of water around the arena? Well, it doesn't really have to be water, it's a watery-like object.
Well, the actual it's built in an old brewery, so you see a few casks piled up on the sides, which I didn't add to the map, though I should have. That you're not sure if they're empty or if they're full. There are a few broken casks. However, it also doesn't seem to be the most weather-tight area, and there are a few spots of puddles on the floor of this brewery. It's whatever sort of plating there was. There's some kind of slate tile in places, but other places where it's just kind of a mess of muck or stagnant water in these very shallow puddles.
Okay, is there any... Okay, I can move on up to one, right? Describe, is there one near me? Or...
Yes, I'll say there's one. Let me even add it to the map.
Because I have a bit of a strange idea.
Yeah, I'll say there's one right there. And another one next to it.
Someone's baby's crying.
Okay, so is one of them open by the way to reveal water, right?
They're all pretty much sealed. You're not sure what's in them, or if there is anything in them.
Okay, then I'll move up to here and try to break open one of them, the nearest one.
All right. Roll an attack.
Regular attack or not strength?
I mean, you can. I guess it depends on how you want to do it. If you want to just smash into it with a weapon, or if you want to just try to lift the top off of it.
Well, it's mostly just a lift, so.
All right, so it's going to be on there pretty snug. So go ahead and roll a strength check. Oh yeah, that's definitely enough.
Finally.
Stick your fingers under it. You pull the lid right off, and you're instantly assaulted by this horrible stench of stale old beer. The oldest, most horrible. You know, it seems as if there was a frat party and everyone there just died.
In a barrel, no less.
Yeah, this was a brewery, and you're not sure how long, how many months, or how many years this old brew has been in here.
Elspeth, here, kitty.
All right, so
Here, kitty.
I take out my flute and start casting cast shape water to freeze to freeze it.
Ah. You're making difficult terrain for the vampire.
So, all right. So what are you doing? Are you just making like a barrel full of ice, or are you turning it over?
Yeah, turning it over and then freezing it.
All right. Oh, that's very interesting. So, go ahead and make a dexterity check to see if you can do that. All right. Yeah, you toss it over, and you manage to freeze this area of water, kind of almost freezing it as it pours out, so it just becomes ice as it spills out across. And let me go ahead and draw a shape here.
That would be great.
And so now, well, if you can see that rectangle, kind of
Yep.
that whole area in that rectangle now is, let me make it a little bit more at the right part, so it's actually on squares. Now has ice and is difficult terrain.
Yep.
Yes, kitty, sit. Yes, my kitty.
All right, and can do on your turn, unless you wanted to do some extra movement.
I'll do some extra movement to say. Actually, since I tipped it over, I can go where it was, right?
What do you mean, go where it was?
Like the barrel.
Oh, if
Oh
it's
yeah, the
displaced-
barrel's not there anymore. So yeah, you can move to where the barrel was. Oh no, my computer's doing weird things.
I'm Barrel the Bard at your service.
You're hiding in the barrel. The barrel gives plus 10 AC.
Worse than
But
in
it's
a
all-
barrel.
Thank you.
All right, so you've moved into the place where there was once a barrel, and as you step there, you notice like a bunch of spiders and horrible things that were living underneath it scatter from your feet.
Ew.
Ew.
All right.
Is it the priest's turn?
Yes, Father Joaquin, it is your turn now.
Excellent. Okay, and I do have holy water in my, inventory of items, if that affects anything. Well, I guess, Joachim steels himself and withdraws his flask of holy water. The power of Saradomin compels you, he cries, sprinkling holy water at the vampire.
So definitely going to need to get closer to do that.
Okay, so yes, Joachim strides purposefully towards the vampire. Holy symbol clutched in one hand, flask of holy water raised in the other. The power of Saradomin compels you, he repeats. Sprinkling or throwing drops of water onto the vampire's cold flesh.
All right. So you toss this at the vampire. I'm not sure what the proper attack roll would be for this.
It's improvised, so no proficiency. Just roll 1d20 plus dex.
All right. Well, you heard the man.
Okay, so 1d20 plus okay.
Dexterity, yeah. That's always for ranged. Oh my god. Saradomin has forsaken you.
Oh
probably
no!
You should
Oh,
probably
no.
pick another god.
Yeah, pick up a
So-
new religion.
Yeah, you toss this flask of holy water, but
Okay,
it
who's putting all
falls-
this die?
That was me,
it
sorry.
it falls short of the mark and just splashes harmlessly not more than a few feet away from you. And the Vire, he kind of notices this crash. He turns towards you and raises an eyebrow like, really?
Joachim blinks and smiles apologetically at the vampire.
The vampire kind of, nods and waves his hand as if, it's cool. No, you're trying.
I believe it is my turn.
Yes, it is.
Yes, having seen the kind of damage this thing can do, I grimly grip the silver tabac and roll to attack. 18. Is that a hit? I
Oh,
think
you
it is.
totally hit him. You hit him like right in the butthole.
Right,
What?
then I use one key to use Flurry of Blows using 2 unarmed attacks. But none of either hits.
Yes. Unfortunately, it seems like you're having more success with your weapon as you try to punch. Your
Hmm.
limbs, you feel like you're not moving as quickly as you can, and he's easily, dipping, darting, completely evading your fists.
Well, we'll see how fast you can move when I do this. Using my 50 movement, I move thus, and then boom, and then like that. Wait, one more. There we go.
Wait,
I move
what?
like that.
Okay,
50
you'll step on me. Gotcha.
Yep. No, you can move over ally square.
So you will squash the board. Thanks.
I move like that. And then I am... Yeah, that's it. Also, I have mobile, so again, he cannot attack of opportunity me because I hit him with a melee attack.
Very nice.
Yes.
So, is that your turn?
Yep, that's my turn.
All right. So he sees this, and he sees the monk who
He has to
tried
roll.
to. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He has to roll a Constitution to see the damage that he takes.
With
Oh, damn.
disadvantage.
Oh,
Well.
yeah. Disadvantage. Of course. Sorry.
Oh, he
Ah,
makes it. He makes it
still
anyway.
He
pass.
still succeeds. So he
Who
takes.
gave him overloads?
Yeah. So he takes half damage. What is the damage from that again?
4.
Oh, I'll just
Four?
cast it again.
Yeah.
No, it's,
alright.
a different damage every time. Let's just
Oh,
see.
okay.
Yeah. 6 this time.
Okay. So he
6.
takes 6 damage.
Good job.
Takes 6 damage. This beam of light continues to crash down on him, and you see his skin starting to sizzle slightly. He looks at the monk who's managed to get in a few blows on him, but he's not sure if he wants to go all the way over there to the monk. He decides to go towards this bard who has created this strange sheen of ice below him. So he walks towards the bard. However, let me go ahead and do a dex check for him to make sure he doesn't slip. And he manages to, with very sure footing, stride purposefully across the ice. And worsened, he reaches back with both of his claws and strikes them one after the other. 12, does that hit you?
Yes, I have 11, so yeah, it does hit.
Oh, dang. He hits you for 12, doing 6 slashing damage. That's with his left claw. And then with his right, he sweeps across your face again. Ooh.
By the way, do we have our holy symbols and garlic on us?
I don't.
Yeah, I never said that they took them from you, so you still have them, but they don't actually seem to be doing that much. So, worsened. You take 13 total points of damage from this vampire.
Oh dear, the bard is low on health again.
Don't forget to move back.
Can I
next
use
time.
the reaction then? If someone gets attacked?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Let me just pop this in the oven, assuming my turn isn't going to be for a couple minutes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
So, roll a 1d6. All right. But however, as he hits Worsen the second time, the bard reeling, almost out of nowhere, this cloud of spores seems to emerge right where this juvenate is standing. He begins to cough as this fungus enters his lungs. And that is the end of the juvenate's turn.
Very well. Let's see here. All right. With his packed weapon held firmly between his hands, Logi does the only logical thing and runs away from the vampire.
Logi does.
But of course, it's not really out of cowardice because he's going to attack it from afar. Let me just see her. Yeah, it's okay. So, with his packed weapon held firmly in his hands, and with the vampire not far in front of him, Logi, he starts to think about his freedom. He realizes what's at stake, and he has a flashback. A flashback to a time in his youth when he saw a dwarven scrying pool production known as Braveheart. And echoing the lines of the production's protagonist, he aims his musket at the vampire's chest and screams, "Freedom!"
Nice.
Oh, damn. All right, these inspiring words echoing in all of your ears, you see as this burst of fire emerges out of the end of this bizarre weapon that looks, almost like a magic wand. Yoon, as an Easterner, you're the only one who really knows too much about this, but you see as this magical bullet hits the Heir square in the chest, and he reels back. Very clearly bloody now, and he fixes you, Logi, with his gaze, and it seems like he's determined now to go after this bizarre dwarf who has struck him with his gun.
Logi mutters a silent swear when he notices the vampire turn towards him.
Right. Is that your turn, Logie?
Yeah, I say something like, Viking Alvis's Nadders or something.
Very nice. Now, Notrix, it's your turn.
Okay. I think my best course of action would be just to move my moonbeam, because I can use my action to just move it 60 feet. So
All right, cast that again to see the damage it does.
I don't think it does damage again. But it says
Oh, okay.
yeah, when a creature enters the spell's area for the first time on a turn. It's already been in it
All
this
right.
turn.
All right, so yeah, when it starts its turn.
And maybe
Okay.
it'll actually roll low this time.
Is that all you're gonna do?
That's all I can do.
All right. Worsened.
Wait, are you sure you don't want to move back or anything?
Oh no, I gotta. No. I have more health than
Alright.
most of the people around me, so probably that's a bad idea.
Alright.
I basically just
Remember, you
Wait,
can use your action to make him not do an opportunity attack on you, a disengage action. So if you try and run, he will
Right.
attack you unless you use an action to
yeah.
make him not attack you.
Well, I know a thing. I'll cast sleep on him. As a just cast sleep on him.
Oh
And
dang.
he turns to sleep.
And there's oh wait, let me see if he's I think he might be immune to that.
Oh. Yeah, undead and creatures immune to being charmed aren't affected by the spell.
Yeah.
Well, he's not undead as
So-
such.
Is I'm counting him as undead.
I mean, he's kind
Oh
of
really?
considered
Oh,
immune
okay.
to
I'll
charm.
switch my tactics then.
Yeah, so you try to cast sleep, it does nothing.
Well, crap. Guess I'll try this cutlass which I have on him.
That just hits. All right, roll damage.
Why?
One. You swing your cutlass at him, with a mighty arc,
Should touch.
and it accidentally gave him 1 hit point instead of reducing it by 1. There we are. With a mighty arc, and it just barely grazes his shoulder. It looks like he doesn't even notice that it's happened.
Good thing, really. Okay, now can I try and run away?
Sure, you can try, but he's probably going to try to attack you.
If you run away now, you will get attack of opportunity.
Fair enough. Then that's probably just my turn, unless I can... Wait, does a healing potion take away one action, or...
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it takes an action to...
Oh, so I can't use it. Never mind then.
All right, so it's the end of Worsen's turn. Joakim.
All right, so a number of our party are badly hurt by this point, right?
Oh,
Looks like
yeah. I'm mostly hurt.
Okay, so who is the closest to, 0 hit points?
It's the bard.
It's the me.
Okay, then, in that case, I'm not going to let you die again, says Joakim. Running towards Worsend And now let me check my spells.
That would be appreciated. Although, I had a fun time, really.
Try to
I'll tell-
put 1 feet for moving towards him. If it's a touch range thing. Oh, or you can go diagonally.
Actually,
So
wait,
you-
I have something here, and it's highlighted red, which means I think I have it assigned.
Anyone with a red dot next to it is one of your spells that you have prepared.
Excellent. Okay, then in that case, I can actually use.
Ignore that. It was a misclick. Thanks.
This prayer of healing affects not just him, but up to six creatures of my choice within some feet. Hold on.
Within 30 feet.
Could you like post the description?
Yes, certainly.
Yeah, that would be good. Enrich gate. Prayer of healing, 30 feet.
Well, that brings me up to full health, so thanks.
And that fills me back to 19 health. So thank you.
Yeah, wow, it's yeah, you managed to hit everyone. I don't think Logi's taken any damage, so
He hasn't.
Wait,
Yeah.
you have 19 and you're level 3?
Yeah, I have 19 HP.
I have 23 HP.
I rolled terribly.
I see.
Wait,
Well, it's a good thing you're the tank. Or bad thing, since I'm technically the only one taking damage.
so is that your turn, Joakim?
I guess so. There's not much else I can do, is there? I mean, can I do something else in my turn? Probably not, right?
You could move somewhere if you want to.
Okay, then. In that case, let me see where I am. No, I think I'm probably good where I am.
All right. Okay, so that brings us back to the top of the round. Yoon, it's your turn.
Don't walk into the blue
yeah,
square.
okay. I was reading. Oh my gosh, I just realized I didn't apply my for my Oh my god. Okay, Constitution rule. So I need to have actually 2 more HP. So I have 21 HP, not
Oh.
19.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah, I was just.
Oh, you
reading
did that in
the-
your Constitution mod.
Yeah, I didn't add my Constitution modifier for my HP. Right.
okay.
So it's my turn.
Yes.
I will move all the way here, which is 25.5 feet.
Mhm.
And again, I will begin with a silver tabak, so reliable. Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
that's
that
it.
hits him.
Kill him.
And
That
then
hits him. And you manage to hit him like right in the chest. And it seems for a second as if it's the killing blow. But he somehow, after reeling back, he manages to hold on to himself. And he just